And we are live, Pong Soul.
You heard? Uh, Supposedly we are live. So that must mean it is Thursday night, and that would be March 6th today. As long as we haven't traveled back in time or to the future, one of the two. But yeah, welcome everybody to another episode of PM the PM. That's right, Pong and Mav and the PM back live. One of the greatest shows on the face of the planet right now, at this very moment, is PM and the PM. At least we always believe so. So thank you for tuning in. Hope we can give you guys a good show. We got some gaming news this week. As you can see by the thumbnail, um, some more smoke for 2026. A little bit more smoke. Of course, it's all salty, of course, because you gotta always take it with a grain of salt. But we're gonna get into 2026 again, which has been a common theme, because we got some Gears news, which related to that. And we also got some Call of Duty potential news, which also relates to 2026. That's right. Why not? Why not get excited for what's going to be another freaking fantastic year of video gaming next year already? Yes, I know. We're only 3 months into this year, and we've got games galore and more dropping, and it's going to be great. But we're going to talk. We're going to talk a little future, and we're going to talk about some of the other stuff that came out this week so far. So I hope you're all having a fabulous week. So, and let's get to my co-host, the man who actually owns this channel. He just gives up the chair on Thursday night. That's right, the one and only Fun Speculation, aka Mav, who just can't stop breaking shit in his house. And as I said in the chat earlier, I think Caitlin might finally ground him. We might lose him. He might have to miss a couple shows if he continues to break shit. Last week was a candle. And go ahead, Mav. What was it tonight that you broke, sir?
You know, like the glass lids that go to the saucepans. You know?
That's good. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, those are fun. Yeah, those
yeah.
are fun.
It's like some reason right before PM and the PM, I'm just prone to break, shatter glass all over the house. I don't know what's going on, man. Happened last week. Happened this week. Last week, I was leaving the bathroom and there was like a laundry basket on top of like a dresser that we have,
Okay. Uh-huh.
and my corner of myself caught the basket, kind of pushed it, and oh, like on the other side, there's a candle next to the basket, one of those big
Mm,
ass candles, shattered all
yeah.
over the bathroom. Today, before the show, I was trying to help out with the dishes a little bit right before the show,
Yeah.
and had saucepans on the counter, and I decided to move it over. I had the lid sitting on top of one of them. Well, I moved it, and oh, I guess it wasn't sitting on good enough because the lid just slid off onto the floor, and I almost just broke my Master Chief helmet as well right now.
Sounds like you're getting old,
Yeah,
sir.
old,
Might be time to
clumsy.
start thinking about retirement, sir.
Yeah.
You seem to be losing coordination.
Oh, well, that's 100%. Yeah, I'm definitely not coordinated anymore. But yeah, man. Other than breaking things around my house,
Yeah,
things been good. Been busy with work. I
good.
haven't had as much time to game. I was still
Mhm.
put plenty of time
We're in the
into
same
some
boat.
Balatro.
Nice.
Trying to man, the highest difficulty on the blue deck is still kicking my ass right now. Twice I've been to the final boss blind on the 8th difficulty of the blue deck, and the boss blind ability got me. Came close both times, but nope, no cigar. So, yeah, that one's kicking my ass. Other than that, um, just playing a mixture of stuff, man. Like, looking forward to things coming out, but, Monster Hunter Wilds, been spent
Yep.
some time with that. Avowed still got its hooks into me. I still haven't gotten super far into it. I'm still in, like, the second area because I'm kinda taking my time with it. But yeah, dude, lots of great things to play, lots of great things to look forward to. This year's as crazy as it's already been great, and more great games keep releasing that I'm probably not gonna get a chance to play for a while. But it's not gonna get any easier because later this month there's more. We got April, May. It's just gonna be crazy year for games. But as we're gonna talk on the show, it's not gonna stop even after this year. Definitely not. So Yeah, but thanks to the chat for being here, guys. What's going on with you, Pong?
Kind of in the same boat, sir. So it's been a busy week for me in real life, of course. Not a whole lot of time for gaming. Did um, obviously last week put in the time. Why did I accidentally answer a toll-free call? Hey, robocaller. I hope you enjoyed that little segment of PM in the PM. I was trying to ignore it.
Patch
Not
him in. We
answer.
have a caller here.
Yeah, we have a caller live on the air.
Do we want to
So
extend our car warranty?
right, something. Man, so yeah, I haven't had as much time to game this week, but last weekend did get Monster Hunter Wilds, and I put in about 9 hours last weekend. Ran solo, and then did get in a little over an hour with you. And that was quite cool because we got to try out the co-op, and it is a funky co-op. It's not just drop in and run around. It's got to start a mission and then got to get into a battle and call for help. And then I can join. Of course, we're still doing the campaign. So there is that. But, we had a good time in co-op. You had one crash, and that's been about it. I've had 0 issues so far on Monster Hunter Wilds in my 9 hours. As I was talking about on the Shop podcast, the game so far, it's still early for me, but the game so far is fucking awesome. It's superb. Okay,
Yeah.
it's Monster Hunter. It's just a better version of what they've been doing with more quality of life. And as a casual Monster Hunter player, as somebody who has played plenty of Monster Hunter's life, just never been serious about it. So I'm kind of in the same boat as, your general populace who's going to jump into Monster Hunter for the first time. I understand things a little bit better, but just going into the campaign solo and running around and hunting down the monsters, like they have really streamlined the whole business of monster hunting. And I think they've done a great job of step by step kind of getting you into it and teaching you
Yeah.
how to go about each kind of little new addition. Like they don't throw it all at you at one time. I'm cool if games do that. Like I don't have a problem in gaming for too long. I will tackle a game that throws it all at me. But I'm just kind of taking a step back and looking at it from a perspective that obviously we know Capcom was trying to get a bigger audience. And well, congratulations, by the way, 8 million sold already. Fastest IP selling IP in history for Capcom.
Yeah.
So it beats all the Resident Evils. This is it. And this is what we talked about. We a lot of us predicted this shit. That this was going to be the new thing. Monster Hunter World sold over 20 million, but it took them a while to get there. They had a roller coaster ride with Monster Hunter World. But what I was saying is they taken everything they've learned from that experience and throw it into Wild. Not everybody's going to be happy with it. I know there's some diehard Monster Hunter fans out there that certainly have had their complaints about the game so far, and that's always going to happen. Again, you're never going to make everybody happy when you got a nice big fan base. But for what Capcom, I think, wanted to accomplish here, keeping the core gameplay experience Monster Hunter through and through, but making the onboarding easier for newcomers or beginners or people like me, I think they did a really, really great job of doing that. And so I'm loving my experience so far. There is just, Capcom just don't miss. And again, I haven't had the performance issues that a lot of people have had on PC. But my God, it's a great looking game. Yeah, I don't necessarily like all the filters that they put on their games either. I wish I could take some of them off. I know there's some mods coming out where people are taking them off, and holy shit, colors bloom and all this kind of stuff. But just the aesthetic that they chose is still a gorgeous game. Crafting new armor and weapons is fantastic. I absolutely love it. And just the sense of humor in that game. We were laughing the other night, Matt, when we came across those little Ewok looking dudes that were
Yeah.
just cracking the hell. They was cracking the hell out of me, man. I was dying. I wasn't expecting it. And it's just a cool world, man. And so I'm going to continue to rock out Monster Hunter Wilds. I just haven't had a chance this week because, again, it's not a game I can pop into for 60 minutes. It's just not before bed. Like, I'm going to be stuck in
Mhm.
that world for 2 hours. Again, you get hunting and tracking down a monster. It's near impossible to put it down after that point. So didn't do any of that this week, but a game that is really good for that is Avowed. I can hop in and out of Avowed real easy. I can go explore for an hour and then shut it off. I can go run a mission real quick, for an hour and then shut it off or whatever the case may be. Avowed is great for that. Um, this game is now locked in at a solid 7 for me, and I think that's probably where it's going to stay. I'm in the second area now. I've been in the second area. Um, been kind of doing the same thing I did in the first area. I'm exploring everywhere because I love the exploration in this game. Um, all the things that I did point out as weaknesses to me have not changed. In fact, some of them got a little worse. That's why I think I brought it down to a 7 from a 7.5 to 8. I brought it down to a solid 7 now for me. And that's what's going to stay. It's a good RPG. It's a good starter RPG. It is a decent Obsidian RPG. And I think that if they move forward with this IP, which there's rumors they are going to, I think that there's a lot they can take from this one and build upon. As I've said multiple times last week on different shows, the one thing that just really is just like, like I said, it's just perplexing to me is that they had a core base of a game that had they really leaned into it, they had something special on this one. In my eyes and what I'm seeing, there's things that they obviously needed to improve upon. There's things they could have expanded upon, but my God, they did have something here. So I think Carrie Patel and her team, if they get to work on this IP again, I think they've got something to really build upon it. I think the second one could be greater. I think that, I've described it as not baby's first RPG, but a good starter RPG. Oh no, it's Alex. Shout out to, oh no, it's Alex. He's enjoying the game. He called it a Morrowind light, I should say, a Morrowind light. He pointed out a lot of the same things I pointed out as far as critiques, because he is an RPG player too. He's got a lot more time in actually the Pillars universe than I do. He's played a lot of the CRPG, but I think that's where it stands. It is a good, solid, nice little RPG, and it is absolutely blast to explore. And the combat is fun as hell. And again, I've gotten to the point now where just being full mage, not using any other weapons, really, really fun with some of the spells. Again, I wish there was probably 2 to 3 times more spells and combinations, but just really having a blast with Avowed still, just as far as just a pure game goes. So that's been another thing. And then, Mav, the final one I'll throw out here. Well, 2 real quick though, Mav. I should let you know too. I'm not going to talk about it big because it's older, but I did pick up King of the Fighters 15. By the way.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's been on sale. It's been on sale.
Yeah, it was like ridiculously cheap. It was like $5 or something.
I got the Ultimate Edition for $15.
Yeah,
so I got all the characters, everything, bro. Yeah, because that's how I always like to buy it. When games are on sale, if they got the bigger DLC included, I will buy the Ultimate Editions for that kind of cheapness. Even if I'm not planning on spending a ton of time in the game, because I want all the options when I go into that game. It's just it's my brain. I love having all the DLC. So I bought the Ultimate Edition for $15. Really fantastic animations, and just a cool fighting game. And I love fooling around with fighting games. Again, I don't get serious, none of that shit. But just having a good time with King of the Fighters 15. And so I picked that up. But the last one will be, I've been playing some Blatro too. I should mention that. A little bit of Blatro here and there for sure. Still getting my feet wet with that game. Still learning the ins and outs, but it's getting better. I actually got a really good run on hold right now that I'm going to get back to. Really liking my setup so far in this run, which is always cool. But I did jump back into Age of Mythology. Pillars of the Immortals.
Yeah, they had new content. Yeah,
Immortal Pillars, I should say. Immortal Pillars. The DLC dropped, so it's got the Chinese gods in it now. And they started a new event. So now you can earn rewards, which they do on a regular basis, but they started a new event. But checking out the Chinese gods that they added, holy shit. So freaking cool, bro. Like, unbelievably good. Just a well-developed set of gods that are just an absolute blast to play so far. And again, I'm not doing competition. It's against AI, but again, I've been playing Age of Mythology now for over 100 hours since it launched. And so I know all the gods. I know their different styles. These Chinese gods have a lot of cool ass shit to them, man. The water dragons are freaking phenomenal. I had this whole I got a video. I'll probably post it this week. Of course, the frames just absolutely crashed because I had this whole sky full of water dragons, right, doing water attacks on this city with I did I have I had my Titan out, and then I had army, and I was in the middle of the city, and then they've got their final one of the final gods that you can get as you're leveling up map had turn it casts down like meteors and turns the entire like this giant area into just solid flames. So I had
Nice.
all this shit going and it just crashed. Like it was like it was now like
Yeah.
20 frames. It was so bad because I had so much shit on the screen, but my screen was just filled. It was so freaking awesome. It just felt powerful. I was just destroying everything. So really like the addition of the Immortal Pillars DLC to Age of Mythology. So if you're looking to pick that up, and it did obviously launch on PS5 this week as well. So I hope everybody's enjoying the hell out of it. But really great. The three gods that they added are dope. Really love each one of them. And yeah, it adds new wrinkles, man, because they don't play the same. None of the gods, the sets of gods, from the different societies, none of the gods play like the other ones. So they
Yeah.
are all different strategies, and the Chinese gods are no different in this one. So, yeah, that's what I've been doing this week, man. Just a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Newer stuff for sure. Like I said, I wish I would have had more time to get into wilds, but I didn't this week. I'll be getting into some more wilds this weekend for sure, and finding some time to do that because I want to get back to it. I was having such a great time, man. Having such a great time on wilds. So, yeah, man, that's what I've been playing. That's what I've been up to. Oh, I should mention this too, real quick, everybody. Disappointing news, by the way. My Turtle Beach Elite that I bought about a year ago, a little over a
But
year ago
yeah, it's
now.
about a year. Yeah.
Trigger broke.
Oh.
Dunzo. They use plastic, and I'm sure this isn't the only controller that does it, but they use plastic for the triggers for the tabs where you press and the spring
Yeah.
pushes in, right? It's plastic. That's one of the weakest spots to have it, like, because that's going to be your most used spot. It was on the right trigger. I thought it had just popped out of place. So I was kind of annoyed, but I was like, I'll pop it open, fix it real quick. So I looked up a video, found all the screws, popped it open. And sure enough, that piece of plastic had broke right in half. So right on that trigger. There's no way that I know of to replace it. I'm not that kind of handyman. So yeah, a little disappointing, but I should let everybody know that just in case you guys are looking for controllers. That's the first time I've ever spent that kind of money on a controller, and it'll be a long ass time before I spend that kind of money again. So
Yeah.
this is just why I don't do it, man. I just don't. And yes, you can say, oh, you should have grabbed your extended warranty, you should have bought a 3-year warranty, blah blah blah. When I pay that much money for something, I come from the old school when things did last, and I
Yeah.
have a real hard time with warranties. I bought ultra expensive receivers, speakers. Again, for back in the day, they were ultra expensive,
Yeah. And it was
obviously.
still a lot of that old shit still like is
Oh,
there today.
it's
You know,
still
still
there
works. Yeah.
today, man. The only thing I ever bought warranties on was my car audio shit because I was pumping way too many amps for the speakers and I was blowing speakers left and right. That was the only time I ever bought warranties back in the day because I knew I was going to use it. But I really have a hard time spending extra money on warranties. And I know a lot of people swear by them. And obviously, a lot of people with the elite controllers for Xbox, live and die by those warranties because they just go in and get them, replaced by Best Buy or whatever else. And I totally get that. Like, don't get me wrong. It's just that when I spend that kind of money, I don't expect it, especially after a year. Like, even if it happened like 3 years, I've been like, okay, I got my use out of it. Like, I don't even really get mad at that point because I'm like, yeah, I got my money's worth. I'm
Mhm.
not mad at it. But this soon, especially for somebody who is not abusive to his controllers at all. I've never had a trigger go out on me ever. I can confidently say that I've
Yeah.
never had a trigger go
That's
out
a
on
weird
me.
one.
It is a weird one, man. It's a very weird one. So I'm
I mean,
disappointed
I've
in
had
that.
buttons get sticky, you know what I mean? Or like,
Yes, over time or stick
yeah,
drift. Stick
yeah.
drift has always been the major
It's
thing,
the
right?
stick drift is
And I had
a
like old Sega
yeah.
controllers where like, eventually the buttons after so many years would go out, right? Of course, they're gonna wear down. But I'm not abusive. I don't throw my
Yeah.
controllers. I'm not hard on them. I don't have sweaty hands. I don't sweat while I'm gaming. None of that stuff that a lot of puts wear and tear. So yeah, I'm disappointed, man. I'm disappointed. So yeah, it's going to be a minute, but I'm going to have to get a replacement, especially for the PC. I've got some cheap ones here that I'll be using in the meantime. But I'm not going to spend that kind of money again unless I have so much money that I really don't care. I'm not going to spend that kind of money again. I think tops I'll spend is $100 next time around, and that's max. And I think that that's what I'm going to look for. So yeah, just kind of disappointed, but I wanted to throw that out there because I know people
Yeah, it
like me
sucks, man.
for yeah,
I got
yeah,
a I
especially
got a
when the
graveyard of
yeah,
headsets and a
yeah, the
graveyard
headset.
of controllers. The
Mhm.
controllers is usually stick drift, but it's
Oh,
like
and that's why I got these because obviously it's got the halls.
just
You know,
it's weird though. Like back in the day, like like this. I don't know if I ever had stick drift on a 360 controller.
I did.
I
Yeah,
mean, I had like buttons like to where like okay, it
mhm.
stops like working very
Yeah,
well
no,
and
I had
stuff
stick
like
drift on
that.
the
But
360. Yeah,
yeah, I don't.
gears. Oh god, gears, wall bouncing and shit, bro. You so hard on those freaking. Oh man, that was back
It's
in the day.
yeah, and
It's just
headsets,
shitty
like, I don't know, man. I've
headsets.
had a couple of headsets
Heads
that have lasted,
Yep.
but it's like wireless headsets specifically always break for some reason. Um, Probably like went through between last gen and this gen like 10, 12 headsets.
That sounds about right.
Yeah,
My Astro A50s that I bought off my buddy. I these are are they Gen 1 or Gen 2 Astro A50s. They lasted 6 years, 7 years, right?
yeah.
Before anything started, and I could still probably get them to work. It's just a little finicky now at this point. And I haven't used them forever.
Yeah, I had
But
some
yeah,
Astras and they didn't last for fuck all.
really.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, they
'cause
they they
my market
lasted.
seems to my
Actually,
best.
those were the ones that broke the
Okay.
soonest after I got them.
Yeah.
The Turtle Beaches, we went like through so many last gen. Um,
Yeah.
the HyperX, I had those for a long time here. Um, and then they finally started, having issues, but not from like functionality. It was just that they lasted so long that
Yeah.
the cuffs actually just started like
Right.
just releasing all the fucking like little fibers and stuff coming off of the cuff, all the little rubber like stuff, on the edges of the cuffs, so they would like just start to get all over the place, so it annoyed me, right? But yeah, they still work. And but yeah, these I replaced with these. I think if like I just sit here and I use headset here, like I'm usually good longer. But
Mhm.
it's the ones like use wirelessly or that I have hooked up to the Xboxes and stuff and the controllers, and you're picking them up, setting them down in different places all the times and stuff like that that always crap out. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is.
Like I said, if they last long enough, I don't care. Like again, I don't get upset when something lasts me for a while and I'm like, got my money's worth. I'm cool, right? It's just like so when it's so quick, man, it's like
Yeah.
whatever. It's like the Xbox headsets were borderline because I've had it since day one that they dropped the wireless headset, right? Day one, I ordered that sucker up. So that's been what 3 years now, right? three
Yeah.
years, I think. On the Xbox wireless headset. A great pair of wireless headset for the cost, right? Really great. It, but now the earpiece is just falling off. Like it just fell
Well, yeah,
apart.
the same thing happened to mine. Like
Yeah.
I just picked up my headset one day to use for the Xbox one,
Yeah.
and like the earpiece was dangling.
Right.
And so
Right.
I looked at it as like, okay, do I just need to like snap this back in or
Yeah.
whatever? And it's
Yeah.
like, no, the legit the
Yeah.
plastic ring around the cuff that holds the cuff on is just completely snapped all the way around in a circle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
It's
wild, and
like,
mine's just the sponge stuff just falling off. Like, it doesn't make it
yeah, so
again,
that's what happened to my
not
other ones
sweaty.
that I was using
Yeah, I'm not
here.
sweaty or anything like that, but again, am I terribly upset that it was inconvenient when it started happening? Because again, whatever,
Yeah,
I wasn't looking for that to happen because 'cause they're so easy to use with the Xbox, with the Series X. But was I overly upset for the cost that I paid for them, that they lasted 3 years? Nah, I'm not overly upset, right? It's not like I paid $500 and they lasted, I I'm like, "It's okay," but it's kind of annoying because again, I came back from a day where I could probably find some of my Sony Walkman headphones from a back about 30 years ago, still lying around somewhere. And if I plug them in, they're probably gonna fucking work.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like,
I
okay.
think it's the plastic they use now is, like, not as
Yeah,
good
yeah,
as
there's a lot of
yeah, I
stuff.
don't
It's the
know.
manufacturing process, bro. It's that Chinese manufacturing process. They've just gone so cheap. Everything's just, I mean, that's what we traded for, was just cheap shit. Like, that's what it is. Even the expensive stuff isn't that high quality made, man. It's
Yeah.
just not anymore. It's not the same, bro. It's not the same. Toys aren't. None of this shit is. Like, that's why it's just different. It's just different now. But anyways, I wanted to throw that out there because everybody asks. And shout out to who hit me up? Oh, the King of Baltimore, big Ravens. He's listening all the time. He's always lurking. He hit me up on X and said, Pong Soul, never buy Turtle Beach. I've had decent luck with Turtle Beach. I actually have. I've still got one of their cheaper controllers that still works perfectly for me. I haven't had the problem, but yes, I've heard the horror stories from Turtle Beach. Obviously, I like to give companies a chance, and when they say they're going to come out with high quality product, sometimes those companies that maybe never really had a line like that, they put extra effort into those first sets. I've seen this in electronics and everywhere else. They put extra effort into their first sets of that high end product, and sometimes you get really good products from companies previously known for cheaper shit, right? And I've seen it. And like I said, I've had pretty decent luck with Turtle Beach, so I was like, I really like what that controller is doing. And again, while it was working, controller was freaking awesome, bro. Controller was like, I had minimal disconnect problems at all. Worked wired, worked wireless. Really easy to set up. Loved all the feel of the entire controller itself. So overall, that controller was pretty damn good until this, but this is pretty egregious in my book.
Yeah.
Like I said, when I took it apart inside snap, it's like, what? How? What? How do you do this? Anyways, let's shout out to the chat and let's get into some topics around here and see what's going on. Let's go. It's Timmy. What's going on? It's Timmy. I see you dropping in here. We got the Mac 22 TH54. What is going on, Mac? Great to see you. We got the one and only Brett Bingham. What's going on, Brett Bingham? Great to see you, brother, in here joining us. We got the Talos Ray, of course, dropping on in here. What's going on, Talos? We got the brother from another 3-bit. What's going on, 3-bit? Good to see you, man. I hope I get to talk to you soon on one of these shows, brother. I hope all's well with you, sir. And I hope you're having fun destroying this entire industry. So we're going to talk more about that tonight, maybe a little bit too. 3-bit, good to see you, brother. Mr. Waffles, what's going on, Mr. Waffles? He says you can get an elite core for under $100. Yeah, that's on my list as a potential, Mr. Waffles. It is on my list as a potential, but I do want something with Hall joysticks. So chances are I probably won't go that route, but I want the Hall joysticks because unfortunately I've had a lot of stick drift. It's one of those things. But Mr. Waffles, appreciate you so much for being here and joining us on the show. We got the one and only Masshole 1977. He was the first one on the list, and he came in with his nerds. Sup to you, nerd Masshole. And he also says Pong rage quitting. Nope, that is another thing I have never done, never been known for. So never quit. Even when I was down, my buddies all knew, even if they were crushing me, it didn't matter. Sports, whatever, fighting games, they were in it for the long haul. I was sticking it out. They'd be like, "Are you sure you just don't want to start?" No, let's
Yeah.
finish this shit out. Let's finish this shit out. That's what I would do. I would get upset, but I'd finish that shit out. I'd take my ass whooping. So that's definitely not it. We got the Will. Did I already say Wilfie? Wilfrey Rosario. If I shouted you out already, you get a second one anyways, brother. You're worth it, man. Thank you for being here so much. We got the future generation. Oh, future generation. I did not even see you put this in there, sir. How did you know I was a Yamaha dude? How did you know I was a Yamaha guy? Yamaha receivers, man. Yamaha receivers, man. Oh my God. Didn't have all the bells and whistles of your Sonys, right? That were all pretty. Didn't have your bells and whistles of, your JVCs that tried to show up, or your Panasonics, right? Or Onkyo. Onkyos were really nice, though. I got to admit, Onkyos were nice. But Yamaha receivers, bro. Yamaha back in the day had the best sound chips out of that, even mid-range Yamaha receivers had top level sound chips. When you put two side by side with the same set of speakers, put on music, put on movies, didn't matter what you were playing, you could hear the difference in their sound chips. Yamaha was fantastic. Love their receivers. I have owned 3 or 4 Yamaha receivers, and none of them did I get rid of because they were busted. I wound up reselling all of them and just upgrading. So yeah, Yamaha all the way. Sounds good, future generations. I love it, man, when somebody else knows what I'm talking about. What's going on? Power A and games where my budget controllers of choice or 8-bit duo, 8-bit do for PC. Yes. I'm thinking about that new Power A. I got to see what it comes in at price wise. I heard they're coming out with a new one. I'm going to check that out. But thank you, Oats. I appreciate that, brother. I'm going to be looking at a bunch. Again, I got to wait for the next big bonus check, and then I'll be investing. Corkenstein, what's going on? Thank you for joining us tonight, sir. Appreciate seeing your name in here. We got the one and only Alvin. What's going on, Alvin? Great to see you, sir. We got nerds and other legends showing up saying, I love King of the Fighters. Yes. I was so impressed with the animation style. Oh my God, it was damn good, man. It's fluid as fuck, too. And the amount of arenas that they got, it's a good looking game, man. Characters are good looking. Just huge lineup of characters, too. Love it every single time. Again, I'm not a big time competitive fighter, but I just love going in and checking everybody out. It's so much freaking fun. Who else we got in here? Oh, we got the one and only Fuzzy, not Belvedere, but Fuzzy Tomato. Thank you for joining us. Set Avowed is one of the few RPGs that you can play for 15 minutes and actually get something done. Ding, 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 ding. Yes, sir. You can find something quickly in Avowed. That's the nice part. Exploration. The rewarding aspect is second to none. It is crazy, man. Now I can sit here and tell you that the loot should be better and that they should have changed up the loot system now that I've played it for this long. But other than that, just finding shit, you're always finding shit. It's freaking great. I love that loop. One and only Sith Lord coming in here saying, hello, gentlemen. How are we doing today? We are doing fantastic. If you can't tell, Sith Lord. And again, as always, sir, appreciate you shouting out the podcast. Again, you shout out the list of podcasts and your support. Appreciate it. Sith, you know that, brother. So thank you, man, for jumping in here and saying hi. We got the one and only Bold Alpha Wolf Pack. What's going on, Bold Alpha? He says, I think the monster diversity and the gold crowns are a step up from the world's 100%. It must be talking. Yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds. Yes, absolutely. I wouldn't know about the gold crowns yet, but monster diversity so far, yes, man. And let me tell you something about Monster Hunter Wilds. They're always been good at setting the atmosphere for whatever type of land you're going into. But Monster Hunter Wilds, if you've got headphones on or you got a nice sound system, what they've done with the sound effects to make you feel like you are in different locales, like the jungle, feels alive, man. It's so good. But yeah, Bold Alpha, I would agree there. The monster diversity so far has been probably a step up as well. E-Ranks, what's going on, E-Ranks? I always love seeing your name in here. Thank you for being here. We got that one and only Captain Crunch in the house. Another underrated cereal in my book. One of my top 5 cereals. Love Captain Crunch, man. Love it. Let's see here. It says happy 150th episode. Is it our 150th? Didn't even realize that.
Is it?
Is it really, Mav? It is. At least it's saying on the screen
Yeah,
it is.
no, it is. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
Realize.
Captain Crunch. Hey,
and Kate sets up
professional podcasters, everybody.
Everybody, thank you all for being here for our special 150th episode of PM and the PM.
Can't believe we're doing it that long. Jesus, man. It's awesome. It's awesome, man. Thank you for noticing that, Captain Crunch. The one and only Polly Baba. What's going on, Polly? He says, I beat Avowed, no lifed it. Awesome game. Congratulations, Polly Baba. Sounds great. I'm going to keep rocking on it. I can't guarantee you because of the games coming out that I'm going to finish it, but I am right now in the mood to keep going, which is something. And again, I'm in the second area now. So, we are rocking. So they could be a while, but I might get there eventually, which would be rare, but I might. Game on Jesse. What's going on? Game on Jesse comes in here with Adam Fall in 24 days. Yo, talk about a game that I have been hyped since day freaking one, but every time they show it, Mav, they had a new gameplay this week, a breakdown of gameplay with one of the devs, the director, I think it was, breaking down some gameplay, talking about how they came to make Adamfall. And I don't know how it's possible, but that game just keeps getting better in my book. Like every single time I see it, like that you could kill NPCs in that game, Mav. You can make all these crazy decisions. The world looks freaking fantastic. It sounds like you're kind of free to go and do what you want to do. You're going to have decisions and consequences that you got to make, much like Avowed. Adamfall, 24 days away. I can't wait, brother. Game Pass, day one. Let's fucking go. It's gonna be good. Oh, we got the legend in here himself, the one and only legendary Yobi. He's got one of the best attitudes, period, in this community. Legendary Yobi, thank you for joining us tonight, sir. Thank you for doing all you do out in this community, brother, as well. Alonzo86, what's going on, Alonzo? He says Monster Hunter Wilds Game of the Year. It's going to be on some lists this year.
It will, as well as possibly another game that came out this week as well. Might be on some of those lists.
Probably. Most likely. So it's Lonzo 86. What's going on?
It's only
talking about Joseph Ferris.
Yeah, it's only early March, and we're talking at like hypothetically games that release within about a week of each other could have 2 Game of the Year candidates for the end of the year.
For sure. Especially since that one's considered an indie game and it's going to be a darling all year for the people who love it. So sounds like it's fantastic. So hope everybody enjoys it. I'm gonna have to listen to you all. Hopefully you guys grab it at some point.
I'll wait on this one probably. Like just get it later. You know,
get it later. I can't wait to hear you and Caitlin's impressions though if you guys play it together. So
yeah, I something about like It Takes Two that was just more like appealing for me as opposed to this one. Not to say this probably isn't equally amazing, just as it grabs my attention to want to play it. This one hasn't done as much for me, just seeing the trailers and everything, as It Takes Two did. But I'm sure once I eventually play it, it'll be amazing.
Yeah,
but I'm just not getting FOMO for it. Like I can wait.
Speaking of, the one and only beautiful Miss Caitlin is in here. She was angry at you dropping.
She's looking at me breaking. It's always her shit that I accidentally break too.
Of course it is. Like, of course it's not your own.
She had just gotten these pans.
Sure, I'm sure they were definitely cheaper pans too.
No, I'm sure they were. I mean, it's even worse. There are actually some better ones that were sent to her because of her channel.
Influencer pans on top of it.
Yeah.
So you broke something she earned, not just bought, but she earned it and you broke it. It's like breaking a trophy, bro.
I know.
Caitlin, I would, couch month, somewhere in that neighborhood. I don't know. I know you're not like that because you'll never do it, but just say it. Thank you, Caitlin, by the way, for the amazing thumbnail, as always, my dear. The brother from another Psychonauts holding it down on the front line of GameStop. Dropped on by in here. Thank you, Psychonauts. Appreciate you, sir. Got the man with the biggest stick in the community. So guys and gals, be on your P's and Q's in this chat, because the Boss Mod Lethal Papa is hanging out with us tonight. Boss Mod, always a pleasure, sir. Love seeing you pop in here, man. Thank you for the support and being a part of the show tonight, man. Let's see. Let's keep going up here. Oh, we got the brother from another, the one and only Reaper of Steel Rain. Yes, this man changes his name more times than I have fingers and toes, but that's okay. He is still just my brother from another Steel Rain, hanging out, probably naked right now. It is about 7 o'clock, so it's about that time for him. But Steel, brother, all love. Glad to see you, man. Thanks for being here. We got the one and only Ghost Fixter. What's going on, Ghost Fixter? By the way, Steel's been putting in work on Monster Hunter Wilds.
What's his hunter ranking?
I have no.
1,000.
All I see him is taking down dragons. That's all I freaking see on his timeline now is dragons. That's all I see. The dude, it's nuts, man. Working those dual wields. What's going on? Ghost Fixer. I think I said hi to both of you, but I'll say it again. Isaac Hayes 85. Thank you for being here and joining the show so much. Ooh, I think that's everybody. I think I got everybody. I know we got something that popped up here green on my screen. So I'm going to find that
Got two
too
things
as
here.
well. Oh, yeah, two things. Mass Hole 1977. My member for 14 freaking months. Congratulations on the 14 months there, Mass Hole. Appreciate that for the Fun Speculation Network. That should have had Phil on for 150th. Someday we'll have Phil on. I actually want to bring Phil on when he could talk, like Shuhei. That's when I want to bring Phil on because I got questions. But I got questions that Phil probably would refuse to answer.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't come on.
Yeah.
But when he
He'll
could
just
talk
give
like
you one of those
Shuhei,
like
that's
smiles and just move on. You know.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Can't talk about that right now. Oh, legendary too. Congratulations on the weight drop, sir. You are crushing it. Congratulations on that, man. Always love to see that in the community. Putting in the work, man. That's all you can ask for, man. Cyber Gunter, I see you dropping in here. We got the lore master Jasper coming to us from space as well, holding it down, keeping the aliens at bay by himself with some ray guns. Lore master Jasper. Shout out to you, brother. We got the May 2. I hope I pronounced it better. I was just about to say I hope I pronounced it better because you said Xbox better, of course. But I hope I pronounced that semi close. But thank you for being here. Xbox better. Appreciate that, man. We got the B Nice in here. What's going on? Be nice. Always good to see you. We got the one and only Pixel Slapper dropping in here as well. Thank you for being here. Sir, and joining the party. Oh, we got the one and only Web Dave dropping on through too as well. Thank you, Web Dave. Oh, we got brother Chris dropping in here. Jesus,
It's his
this is like a
birthday.
family reunion.
It's C Unit. It's his
What?
birthday
No,
today.
we got Fastback. Brother Chris
Oh,
from
OG Fastback.
we got
Oh,
OG
right,
Fastback
right on, bro.
6768. What's going on? It's like a family reunion
Fellow
out here, man.
Texan.
Yes. CBH for God. What is going on? Thank you for dropping in here. Spartan 661. Always appreciate you being a part of the show, sir. Mitchie dies a lot. What's going on, my friend? Thank you for being here. The one and only Nam Omar decided to stop on by as well. Jesus, we got a full house tonight for 150. We didn't even know it was 150. We just got a what did we just get? We just got a super chat.
Yeah,
$4.99, man.
Yeah, $5 from Mac 22TH54. But he put it. He said
Yeah.
said YouTube
Oh.
fucked him, so he put he put what he's supposed to say after. He said the chat just screwed me. What my $5 super chat was supposed to say was I bought the Turtle Beach controller and yes, I picked up the warranty.
Of course you did. Of course you did. Smart man. Smarter than me. So thank you, Mac, for that.
I'm like you
Appreciate the
though,
$5.
Pong. My pride won't
Yeah.
allow me to get the warranties. I'm like, this should last, and then like at the end of the day, I'm the one who ended up paying for it. You know.
Correct. I got
But
the
like, I
warranty on
hate
the PC.
also. It's like some of this shit's so expensive these days too, and it's
Yeah.
like when you buy it, it's like it just is that much more just to make sure you know.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's an addition, man. I did get the warranty on the PC, right? Because pre-built, I wanted to make sure, right? So I did get the warranty on that. My OLED, I didn't get the warranty on my OLED. I was like, this thing better fucking last, man. It better fucking last. All my TVs have my 1080 Sony is still rocking and rolling up there with one of the best 1080 pictures that I've ever seen anywhere. That thing is amazing. And it's a 3D TV, right? Back when 3D was going to be a thing. I've actually got 3D Predator. And actually, I had Zombie Trilogy, which you could play in 3D as well on that, which was dope. Me and the kiddo played that. It was freaking cool as hell, actually. I'm not going to lie. It was pretty fucking dope. But yeah, I never bought one of my OLED because I was like, this thing better last. And hey, I've had it now when I get it at launch. So I've had it now almost for 5 years. CX, still rocking and rolling, man. Can't complain. Knock on wood, because I ain't jinxing that shit. Who else? Oh, Bigelow Ravens did drop on in here. He said AMD cards sold out today. Yeah. Holy shit, AMD. The way that Nvidia's 50 series cards are performing and failing and starting on fire again, and some of them are showing up not performing at like where they're supposed to be, like their quality control, whatever happened over at Nvidia, and then AMD shows up with the 9800s. and these things are built pretty freaking well and performing freaking well for mid-range cards and out the gate. Now they said today they hinted that this could be a limited edition pricing situation, which I think would be a massive mistake on AMD's part. But right now, $549 and $599. But that $599, I just saw some performance charts right below my XTX, my 7900 XTX, right below my 79. So it's beating out 5080s. So yeah, AMD's got a little shot here to take a little bit of market share if people are smart, especially at that price point. But yeah, I imagine they're going to be selling out. And word was that they had a ton of them. I saw that that was also the news. The stores were saying, "Hey, we got thousands of each types of card." So would not doubt a lot of people are going to upgrade with this AMD and go AMD this time around. Because those 50 series cards not looking so great. But again, what do I know? I don't know the tech side of things. I was just reading and watching it because I was interested to see how they were going to do this. My two came with the 599 euros. Says Xbox is better. Once again, Xbox is
It's better again and again and
I love
again.
it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love that everybody's favorite Jimmy Neutron wannabe get so flustered when he got raided and everybody was saying that to him. I love that clip. That clip was hilarious.
I didn't see that.
Oh my god, it was a couple weeks ago. He got raided and literally people were paying money to super chat him that Xbox is better and he had to read it.
But it was actually bothering him.
Oh, it was bothering him. Even though they were paying him and he tried to make fun of them and was like, "Oh yeah, can you give me your money, blah blah blah." And then eventually, but he's like, "Oh, we want to get back to real talk here, so I'm going to make this members only." Okay. He was pissed. He was pissed that he got
Just
raided.
have fun with something like that, man. It's like
he can't.
I know.
He can't. He can't. He can't have fun with anything, dude. Everything is serious to him. Again, I don't understand the audience.
Yeah,
Not for me to
different
Everybody has
kinds of
their
people
choices.
in this world. You know,
I just don't get it though. I just don't get it. But anyways, it was good. It was a good time.
there's assholes and there's everybody else.
There is. Oh man. Oh, Future Generation says, nice. The CX, I still have the LG C1. Yeah, man. The LGs have been really good. I'm so happy with mine, for sure. Let's see here. We got Ghost Wolf 35.99 jumping in here. Thank you, Ghost Wolf. He says, salute to you all for making my long drive home from work not so bad. Shout out to you, brother. As I always say, I understand those long drives myself. And so if we can help you out in any way, man, love it. Thank you for being here. We got Scorpio, hashtag no beans. That's right. We're not doing any beans. Pixel Slapper says, sounds like DSP. Yeah, I know people accuse him of that too. He does copy DSP a lot too. With the $2 coming in with the Xbox Butter. Xbox Butter. Love it. That's the other version. Shout out to you, Brett Bingham.
Xbox better butter.
Who else? J Mo Money. Thank you. So shout out to the panel. Appreciate you, J Mo, for being in here. Razor Ultron dropping in here says, are we ever going to get to a PM in the AM? Unless we have a special one at some point. There might be a reason why we hop into an early PM in the PM, like if there's some kind of show or something in the AM.
We might like a late night show, like this is late night with Pong and Matt.
That's
PM
between our two schedules. I don't know how that's ever going to work out, but maybe someday. But yeah, we'll have some fun with
2
that.
2 a.m. We're ready to roll for a 5-hour show. Delilah. You remember Delilah?
Yeah, I do. Shout out to what was I just gonna? Oh my god, I just lost my train. I love when this happens. By the way, this thing where my train of thought goes sideways because
you're getting old, Pong.
I am, but again, my brain's working pretty damn good. But my god, after a full day, like it does, like it's like holy shit.
Next step, you're gonna be breaking candles and saucepan lids.
I don't really have a problem with breaking a whole lot of shit. I will say that. So I haven't not gotten into that yet. So, I know what I was going to say, by the way, everybody out there, nostalgia and old folks, you guys all appreciate this, or maybe you won't appreciate it because it hit me. I mean, again, you guys already know that I know I'm old, so whatever, but it hits me hard with the people that I grew up with. And this is the thing that my dad always told me. That's the hardest part. The actors, the people that you grew up with getting older and how old they get and what that means for you in watching them grow old. Martha Quinn turned 65 today. Martha Quinn is one of the original original DJ on MTV when it was actually music television back in my day. And to see Martha Quinn turning 65, I was like, Jesus,
Yeah.
man, are you kidding me? But she is an OG, and hats off to her because she was a pioneer. I mean, again, MTV was obviously breaking ground and doing something completely new, but she was a personality and she was such a cool DJ and she was always so full of energy, man. So shout out to Martha Quinn today, 65. We got my two coming back again with a 249 euro Xbox Butter. Shout out to you guys. It's never expected around here.
Uh,
Always
for
appreciated. Keeping us
butter.
ad free in
Are
2026.
we like
Hashtag no
are
beans.
we like
Choo
we
choo,
got some
motherfucker.
toast that needs to be buttered here? We got some bread that needs
Butters.
to be buttered because we got more butter coming through in the chat now too. Brett Bingham with another $2 says need Xbox butter to go with the Series S toaster. Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Let's go. And we got
And
Razor Ultron showing up with $2 as well, saying Xbox Butter. Love you guys.
is that
Love
a
you
new
guys.
thing that's going around, or is that just
Yeah, instead of better, it's butter. Because again,
okay?
he was getting pissed off at better, so then everybody started putting butter and making him say Xbox Butter. Oh, God, bro, it's
That's so funny.
again when you can't. I don't know why if you're a public figure getting paid to do something you supposedly love, and you honestly really do get upset. You become the meme because you're doing your fake laugh, and it's the meme with the mask, with the smiley face, and behind it you're raging with tears
Yeah.
in your eyes. You are a public figure
I
with a
think it's a thing
job.
about control. It's got
It
control issues.
really is, but you
Yeah.
gotta be able to roll, man, especially when it's good-natured trolling. People aren't coming in like, yeah, sure, there was people calling him Jimmy Neutron, whatever. He's heard all that. Just roll with it. Like, you claim you don't care, but then 5 minutes in, while people are paying you, you go, "Yeah, I wanna get back to our normal show, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn the members-only chat on."
Right.
What? Bro, have fun, man. Just have fun, man. Anyways, again, not my deal. Whatever. I just know again, I don't watch on a regular basis. I just see all the clips, of course, because we got so many people out here. Shout out to Astro Cyborg, by the way, who clips everybody, but he's funny as fuck. Prey, Grasso, what's going on? Prey, great to see you in here, dropping in here as well, my dear. Thank you for being a part of our show. DS Omen, what is going on, DS Omen? Great to see you. DS Omen says, fun fact, I've met Delilah's producer. She was cool. Well,
Right on.
shout out to you. We got Richard Leith jumping in here. Great to see you, Richard. He says, any speculation on what will be the main launch title for the next Xbox? Hey, thanks. He says, thanks. Hey, we will talk about that yet again, what our thoughts are, because I think we're going to have it. Alvin says, is there such a thing as good-natured trolling? It's all you can only control what you control, sir. You control your own feelings no matter what at the end of the day, right, Alvin? So again, take it how
Definitely
you want.
there's good
But yeah,
news. Yeah, for sure.
there's
Like,
very personal, hateful trolling, right? That's
and then
pretty
there's
obvious.
just like fun jokes and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and people ribbing you for obviously who you are, right? But again, it's just whatever. You could take it as, oh, these people are really getting underneath my skin. Or do you get to the point, again, like me, where I just don't give a fuck? Like, I really don't.
Yeah.
Go
It's like
think you
that
could think
friend that you'd hang out with and you're all, you got all the other friends and you're all like
yeah,
making fun of each other, joking around each other or whatever. And
yep,
like, and then that one friend like can't
yeah,
take a joke. You know what I mean?
yes. And he
Right?
brings everything down. It's
Yeah.
like,
And then
Jesus.
everybody's like,
Oh, bro. Okay. All right.
I just don't
Fine.
like when you talk to me that way, guys. Like,
Yep, there is always that one. But
yeah.
again, to each their own, not my shit. So whatever. Again, I just
Yeah.
thought it was fantastic. And I love you guys. My two comes in with another 249 euro. Thank you. My two never expected, always appreciated. It says Pony Snowflake. Nah, he's not, man. He's not, he just talks facts, bro. Just talks facts. So people just don't like
His
facts,
mushy
man.
beans.
He's a softie. He's a softie. All right, let's get in. Let's get into some.
We'll move on. I don't know the guy personally. I just from what I've seen,
Nah,
it is what
he's a
it is.
softie. He's a softie, bro. He is what he is. Let's see here. Mav, where should we start tonight? Let's just start with the main topic. We got 2026 smoke. Obviously, DS, Richard Leith asked if there was any speculation on what the main launch title for next Xbox will be. So let's just jump into this. We got the smoke this week, and from a couple different directions too, Matt.
Yeah.
Right? So, um, I mean, I did actually throw some stuff in our DMs tonight, so I think I've got some of this. Of course, it's not going to be in order, so you guys will have to bear with me. Professional podcasters here, we do this full time, 7 days a week, and get paid a lot of money to do podcasting. So you're just gonna have to bear with us while we do this. But we had, of course, the news, right, or the speculation, or the rumors that Call of Duty 2026 Modern Warfare 4 is what it's supposed to be, and this is from Charlie Intel, shout out to Charlie Intel, not releasing on old he broke it down. It's via the Ghost of Hope. Not releasing on old gen PS4, Xbox One. So they're gonna finally ditch that generation map, which would be a game changer, right? For Call of Duty. Call of Duty's dipping right now. There's no question about it. Been a lot of problems with Call of Duty lately. It's still obviously extremely popular. People still
Number one
continue to play
selling
it while they
game
bitch
last
about it.
year,
Number one selling game,
still
but
top
obviously
in the every week and the Circanas and stuff.
there's some issues that are starting to boil. But again, that's always going to happen in a franchise this big. But they are legit. There's enough people that are talking about it now. You got to take it seriously. But getting rid of that last gen would be a big moving point, right? Obviously, Grand Theft Auto 6 is probably going to move the vast majority of people to current gen. But obviously, Call of Duty is your next biggest game that will do that outside of if Fortnite decided to cut off or something like crazy like
Yeah.
that, which they'll never
The
do.
Switch 2
So,
will end up being the lowest common denominator for the development.
facts, it will be. So, but this is good news. In development on next generation Xbox dev kits. This is where you start pouring salt. But again, this is something we've been talking about for a very long time. Originally, it was just a guess. I brought it up, I think, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, whatever it was when we started talking about this, what we would do if we were in Xbox's position. I said go early, and I said 2026, get the jump. It's starting to build hype here. It's starting to build a little momentum from some of this news cycle that's at least one piece of hardware from Xbox. It might not be both the handheld and a standalone box, right? But one of those pieces is going to be out next year, supposedly. And here we are in development on next generation Xbox dev kits. UI may be more traditional like older games. Engine updates to fix visual clutter issues. Warzone may not be supported if Verdansk does not do well. That would be a massive fall if Warzone was not supported because of the issues that they're currently having with Warzone after how big Warzone was. I can't imagine that stops just because of the problems they're having currently, but maybe they make some wild, crazy decision. But anyways, that was the first kind of rumor this week, Mav, that kind of hinted that next gen Xbox is potentially coming in 2026. If it's being developed on dev kits, that means they're not going to be the only ones who have the dev kits right now. If that's the case, if the Call of Duty does, right? And then we got the news, and did I not grab this? I could have swore I did, but I did not. I don't think. Oh God, hold on real quick, guys. Let me get something showing up here. Gears of War. We got the news, and I think this was from Leaker Exodus, right, Mav? I think it is Exodus or whatever it is.
Extasis had a leak about the
Exodus.
Gears.
Yeah,
Yeah. Or a rumor
yeah.
or whatever. Yeah.
Rumor of it, and again, take it with a grain of salt. It's like Stasis. Again, I don't know where he got a following or how. I've seen him, I believe, be wrong in the past, but again, people keep putting his stuff out there. But supposedly, the new rumor is, Mav, that there will be the Gears of War collection this year, not E-Day, but Gears of War collection, PS5 Pro enhanced, coming out early to mid August on PS5, and then E-Day targeting 2026. And why I put this in here with the rest of the, or with the other thing for the next gen is because we are going to talk about what we think the launch lineup could be. And this is something that we have brought up in the past, Mav, that if they were going to push E-Day to 2026, it would make the most sense that that would be one of your games. Now, we're going to talk about the launch lineup and whether that's even a necessary thing. But first things first, man. Let's talk about this Call of Duty thing. So, if this is to be believed, if these rumors are, if you're going to take them at face value, they're obviously working on the next Call of Duty. We know that's a fact. So, the other stuff is all plausible. Cutting off the last gen, changing the UI, right? All that kind of stuff. Like I said, the Warzone thing is a little iffy to me, but Mav, working on current or next gen console dev kits. Do you believe, Mav, number one, because we've talked about this plenty of times before, are you now starting to be in the camp that this is real and that Xbox is going to launch something hardware wise next gen in 2026? And what do you think it's going to be?
Wow. That's okay. So
Mhm.
it's funny like cuz we've talked about this on FSP a little bit
Yep.
and um when you put it like as adamant like do you think it's real and what is it going
It's
to be?
going to
That's
be
what like that's the difficult question is what is it going to be, right?
correct.
So
Correct.
that like just you asking it that in that way is like because that's been the we've talked about this a couple times. Me personally just been trying to wrap my brain around how this is going to work, with their idea of Xbox everywhere, Xbox anywhere, with, you know, redoing the potentially OS stuff and everything to make everything kind of
Mhm.
unified into one platform. There's a talk of the hybrid stuff and all those kind of things. Been really trying to comprehend it, you know what I mean? In like a way that makes sense that gives us the forward compatibility that they promise for the console. It's easy if you say, "Hey, this is going to be a PC," right? But we know the PC store doesn't really have a lot of stuff, so it's like it's got to be a console, but it's also going to be a console and a PC. So how my mind's going to be like for the hybrid thing to work. It has been just racking my brain about what does that look like? What does that look like? Not what does the box look like, but what does it look like when you launch it? What games do you have access to? Right? How do you get into the other storefronts and all those kind of things? Because that's been the most interesting thing about all the rumors that we've had over the past year regarding the hybrid setup and all that kind of stuff. And the easy solution would have been like, okay, so everything is Xbox anywhere, right? So that then it's like at that point, it's like, okay, well, it doesn't matter if it's skewed like a PC or whatever. You're going to be able to get access, and you can have access to the PC store, and you can have access to the console store, right? Um, but if it's only licensed and skewed as like one kind of device, right? So like a PC, how does that work in that sense? So um, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how it all works out. Like, this the business side of it. I think that's the more like questionable thing for me. Like, how does that work? Not saying like functionality wise, how is it possible? It's just with licensing and making console SKUs, deals they have in place, and all those other kind of things, and partnerships and all that. Like, how does that work on the back end with all the compatibility for our libraries and stuff going forward? So it's been intriguing seeing games like okay, Monster Hunter Wilds doesn't even launch on the PC store, right? For Xbox, it's not on Epic either. You know what I mean? So it's not like it's just they're just avoiding Xbox, but those kind of things make me wonder how are they unifying and making everything going to kind of be this everywhere initiative if the stuff isn't even available in some of those places now, you know? So that's been racking my brain for a long time. So what it is the hardest question to answer. Do I think it's real? Yes. I think whatever it is, we're gonna get more clarification on this year and more hints and more clues as to that. That's gonna help paint this picture. I think that ABK accelerated this as well as their original plans. I think they had planned at potentially doing that kind of not necessarily hard performance wise, but a redesign console that we saw leaked, right? The cylinder S console that was part of the FTC leaks. And then I think when they decided to forgo that, that was their moment where they're like, okay, we're going to go early on next gen, right? We have ABK. 2022 didn't work out really well for us to kind of slowed our momentum down for this generation. We're going to have all of these other things here. And once they started going more kind of multi-plat and putting their games in all these other places, it's like, well, let's go ahead and launch this new future of Xbox, right? And I think it involves a lot of things. I don't think it's just about the hardware. Like, and that's the biggest thing. I think it's more about the functionality of our access to our games, and that's going to be in my mind, my speculation, right, is that there's going to be some kind of major overhaul of how the whole UI system thing works between PC, Xbox, handheld devices, and all this other kind of stuff to try somehow unify everything into one thing. And then the box that we have access to buy in 2026 will be the native made for your TV one created by Xbox, right? And I think that will launch the moment where this makes sense for everybody. And at that point, then you'll might see some third party boxes released that have that Xbox OS, right? We might also start to have more handheld devices. Even later this year, you could have handheld devices that have like a Xbox automatic launcher on it, right? We already heard from Jason Ronald and stuff that's they're working on, and they're going to show more later this month at GDC. They're going to show and talk to more. They're getting more developers on board with Xbox Anywhere and Xbox Everywhere and stream your own game and all those other kind of things, right? And I think behind the scenes they're going to show some of this stuff off. And I think whatever it is they have already teased and talked to people about in the past at some of these events has blown some people away and caused some excitement from some in the industry or some that are in the know. But it's too little information, too little things except just the sense of the excitement from some about what that future is going to be. I think the box that we get access to buy, if you're just asking specifically about the console, will be a higher end box that will be more powerful, have a better CPU on it, have better graphics card. It'll involve AI. It'll have all these other kind of things with all the talking points that Microsoft's touching on right now, like Xbox, uh, blah blah blah, powered by Copilot. Who the fuck knows, right? Like it'll be something like AI. They're going to talk a lot about AI when they talk about the console. They're going to talk about how it's going to make the games better. They're going to talk about all this other kind of stuff. At the end of the day, I'll need to see it to believe that stuff. But yeah, I think they want to get it out as soon as they can, and I think that makes sense for end of 2026. Now, Jez had recent information that hey, they have the design was greenlit, right? So that being said, I mean we're still like 19 months away or 20 months away from November of 2026. So I don't know how long production takes. I don't know how long getting all that stuff together takes and everything, but it doesn't seem unreasonable for me to think that by holiday season next year they could be ready to roll out some new some new hardware. I think also there's less reason to feel like they can't because there's no jumping off points, right? When it comes to last gen or this gen versus next. You know what I mean? You're all everything's going to carry over with you is what they promise. So I doubt there will be many things for a long time that'll just be current gen only at that point as well. I think that kind of days of immediate, hey, this stuff, past stuff isn't going to be supported or just going to be over for a long time. That's for everybody. So yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. So I think yes, it's real. I think they won't take a loss on it. I think it'll be expensive. I don't think they're gonna make a huge amount of money per console sold, but I think they're past the days of taking losses on hardware when their
Right.
reach is so far beyond the hardware.
Yep.
And it's just because it's not necessary for them anymore, right? It's going to be for those that want it. Those of us that want it, and it's going to serve other purposes within the ecosystem for Xbox as well. Um, but yeah, I think probably high end, more powerful system. Going to have some interesting things. It's going to be kind of a unifying device for access of content, and it's going to be $700 plus.
Yep.
That's
Fair.
my speculation. You come back to me later, and we'll see how wrong I.
Think that all makes sense, Matt, and I like your thoughts on that. I think that what I would do to piggyback off of what you just said, first of all, I do believe it's real. Again, I've been on this train. This is not just because I guessed it a long time ago, but it's just because it just makes a lot of sense business wise to if you can do it. Now, again, there's no guarantee, even if the smoke right now is real, that they get it in full production and
Yeah,
are able to put it out, right? There certainly could be a delay, right? We could see it come out spring of 2027. Like that's certainly a possibility. Um, but I think if they can hit 2026, especially if they can hit pre-holiday 2026, then you do that for a variety of reasons. The ones that you just explained, Matt, absolutely in agreement with you. I think there is more. I said originally it was because now the shackles are off because of the way you're approaching gaming, the business itself. The model has now changed for you. You are not beholden to the old way of doing things. So you can grab every advantage possible. And one of those advantages is going to jump ahead of the curve, especially if you are pushing boundaries, as they've stated they're going to multiple times, hybrid, whatever the case may be. As Mav was talking about, as we've talked about here plenty of times, this whole new play anywhere that they are absolutely 1000% pushing, that they are trying to get this UI unified across every single device that you're going to use the Xbox ecosystem on. Then you take the advantage by launching early because you're not in direct competition anymore. So what you do is now is you get people interested. And I would add to you, man, piggyback off of you as well, not just from a consumer standpoint, right? And I agree with you. We've talked about this. I'm in the camp $800. Uh, enthusiast box out the gate. We've talked about the third parties coming in and producing the product, licensing it out, producing the product in different power levels, much like a PC would be offered, a pre-built PC would be offered. Some of them will be cheaper, some of them could be more expensive, depending on who the manufacturer is, etc. Giving those options to be again, you're not in the same world anymore you once were. This is new. We don't have generations like we used to in consoles. So you are free of all that shit. So I think this is why you do this. But business wise, Mav, this initiative that they are pushing and what you were just talking about, where, you see Monster Hunter Wilds skip their PC store, right? And stuff like that. They are trying to sell this idea to third party developers, big time publishers around the world right now. You are going to have some close partners who will buy in to your ideas no matter what. Those close partnerships like Sega, etc. You will have those people that will give you the benefit of the doubt and jump into whatever you're selling. But you're going to have people who aren't, and they need to be sold. And we talked about this, Mav. And again, I still think their ace is what Satya talked about years ago, which was cutting the fees down that they take below the standard by a long shot. so that the devs and publishers take more of the money up front. But I think what you do here, Mav, is you have to give them proof of concept of what you're doing with your new hardware. And it starts with the box underneath, still underneath the TV, and then expands still everywhere else. But you need all of these pieces functioning together underneath one setup, which is what you're currently working on. Jason Ryle and his team, the UI, all that good stuff. You have to have this proof to show those people who might not yet be sold on why they should jump into this and how exactly this is all going to work seamlessly, and why customers will get excited, and why that will in turn, if you got more customers in the ecosystem, give them a greater opportunity to buy these devs and these publishers games that are in there and available with this whole setup. So I think you need this piece early. I think this is the setup box. I think this is the set-top box underneath the TV. I think the handheld will come a year later in 2027. But I think this will be your standard box, but it's going to be the new look box. You also, at that time, right? And again, even though you're not in direct competition, whatever you're going to have in this box, and again, I've stated speculation here, complete speculation on my part, we're going to see a lot of AI tech in this box. We're going to see a lot of the bells and whistles that are starting to come into play with frame gen and all that kind of stuff. We've heard Phil and there, Satya talk about the AI bringing back old games from the dead that can't be ported anymore and bringing them to the new system. That could be a whole additional library of games that if they get that working, and I'm not saying it's going to be working in 2026, but even if the promise is there, Mav, they're going to be able to say, yeah, coming next year. Remember all those old OG Xbox games that were locked to the OG Xbox that we couldn't port over? Yeah, you're going to be able to have an opportunity to buy those because our AI, what do they call? I forget what they called it now offhand, is making that possible. So you're going to be able to play those old games. Oh yeah, that's right. Our partner Sega, those games that have been locked to Dreamcast forever, they've agreed to give us these titles to bring forward because they're not going to do anything with them in the future, right? Again, there's going to be opportunities to sell people on this, but you have to have it in people's hands. An idea is great, but showing people how it works, and GDC is going to be the first step to that. That's why they're advertising the way they are. That's why they're pushing it so hard. But you have to have these products, and it's got to be every single product that you're going to have as a part of this entire cycle of Play Anywhere. Got to have all those products in place and prove that it all works. And I think that's why the big key to getting it out in 2026 for Microsoft and Xbox is the business side to do so. Yes, they will jump ahead. Yes, if they do this right, and this is some great new hybrid tech, like you said, Matt, that gives us the chance to potentially have other storefronts in there, that gives us a chance. Obviously, we already know it's going to be a thing, carrying all of our games forward, enhance some of them. It's going to do all these bells and whistles. Yes, you're going to have us, the enthusiasts, show up and we're going to buy it, right? Even if we got PCs, we're going to buy it because we still like the set top box. We still like the boxes underneath their TV. We still love the convenience. And if they prove that that's the case still, my God, yes, absolutely, I will be there. I've already said that. But the big deal is for the business side to get that out, to show people getting excited about it, even if it's just the enthusiasts, but show how it links with all the other pieces and show how it all works. And then obviously behind the scenes, you're going to be telling the developers and publishers, we've got our handheld coming soon, right? That's going to be talked about behind the scene. We got this handheld coming too. We're going to add this to the family. Oh, by the way, we're going to open up this licensing to other companies. They're going to be producing our products as well, our hardware as well. They're going to give people different options in the hardware sector. And then you start to build upon that promise of an idea and what they can be, and the devs and the publishers can start to see that future that you're trying to sell to them. And that's a major deal here. And I think that, like I said, never once through this whole time did I ever say that I thought that they could steal, ultimately all the sales from PlayStation or Nintendo or whoever. It's not about that for them anymore. What they can do, though, is become so compelling of a buy for consumers and become such a compelling option for devs and publishers that they do take some of the mind share back, that they do convince a percentage of people who just only own Switches or just only own PlayStations or just only own PC or maybe own 2 of those, that they might be compelling enough to convince a portion to say, I need that new Xbox. It's giving me options that I didn't know I had or that I was going to have. It's doing all these different things. I can have the convenience of a set-top box, but I can have my storefront from, let's say, Steam or from Epic or GOG or wherever in there. Great. Yeah, it still doesn't play my Switch games. Yeah, it still doesn't play my necessarily my PlayStation 5 games. Maybe it'll play some of the ones on PC, but it doesn't play them natively. But this gives me the option to access all that. Oh, and then if I do want to play my Xbox games that I buy through this thing and some of the third party stuff, I'm going to be able to play that anywhere on any of my screens as well. That's something I didn't consider before because I wasn't really interested in the Xbox, what they were selling. But now, if I'm going to go in there, I'm going to convince myself that that is additional value for me to buy into something that maybe previously, this gen, last gen, I didn't have any interest in buying into. But now it's making more sense because I can take my games anywhere, right? And I think that that's all a big picture look at, again, from my point of view, what I would be doing if it was Xbox, if I had the potential to just do what I wanted to do because I'm not worried about what Sony's doing. I'm not worried about what Nintendo's doing. And I'm certainly not worried what the PC world per se is doing. I'm just focused on what I'm trying to do, which is trailblaze a whole new road and create this whole new system, which we've already started. I would just do it this way. I would get out ahead of everybody, out of the curve, and just promote the hell out of what I was doing and how different it was from everybody else and what we've seen in the past. And I think this is a massive opportunity for them to do so. I think it is. And obviously, Call of Duty is one of the big titles, and you
Yeah.
need that big title, right? Again, we're not going to have, we could talk about the launch lineup here too, Mav, with this, and I'll turn it back to you. We've talked about this in the past. Do you necessarily need, if it's going to be this type of system, right? Do you necessarily need like a launch lineup of like the way we used to think about it, where they save their big titles till the day of the system dropping? I can argue, no, you don't anymore, especially if the system is just going to take everything you currently play and make it that much better, just like a upgraded PC, GPU does, right? When you get a new card, it just plays all your old games even that much better. In fact, some of the games that kind of lag behind, you just pop those on because you want to see how they play, how much better they play. If we're rolling into that type of gray area where the consoles and the PCs are blurred that much, then maybe you don't need a launch lineup. But if you have as many IP as they do, man, and you have big IP, and we'll drop in here. Let's say this Gears of War stuff is real, Mav, and you are now pushing E-Day till 2026, but you're coming out with the trilogy this year, the original trilogy coming back this year. But you got E-Day, you got Call of Duty, you're gonna have Fable next year, Mav. Right? We talked about this. Your launch lineup could include any game that comes out in 2026 because it's going to play that much better on your new hardware. So that launch lineup for 2026, even if it's not on the same day that console drops, could be considered one of the best launch lineups of all freaking time, considering what they've got, Matt. So what do you think about that, Matt? If we're going to go with it and we're going to run with this and we're going to say they're going to launch in 2026 new hardware, launch lineup, Gears E-Day, Call of Duty, Fable. What do you think about what that sets them
Yeah.
up for to promote this new piece of hardware?
It's been interesting because like selfishly, I don't want Fable to be the holiday. I want it to be like early next year. You know
Of
what I
course.
mean?
Of course. Oh, yeah,
But
absolutely.
I mean, because it's going to be upgraded for the next gen
Yeah.
anyway. So like,
Yes. Right.
which I'll have when it
Yes.
comes out. So no way I'm not getting that, right? So it's hard to think about, okay, what would they hold
Mhm.
for a hardware launch?
Yeah.
Um
Would they hold anything or would just kinda line up with it?
it's interesting because like in a traditional way, in the
Mm,
old ways, you think,
mhm.
yeah, they'll hold hold a bunch of stuff and then drop it because it's like, holy shit, huge launch lineup. You get like all this excitement around a box and brand new games for it and all that kind of stuff. But like, I don't know. I mean, these games are also going to be on other places, you know what I mean, as well, you know? So it's not like and that includes current gen Xboxes.
Mhm.
So it's not like you're gonna to have that device to play those games, but it's going to be exciting for the enthusiasts to play them. But they're also going to get those upgrades anyway when they buy the box for those games. So, and I've been trying to think, would they hold off a bunch of stuff, for that? Like, hey, the biggest launch lineup ever in Xbox history, because that the potential's there if they want to
Right.
go that route. Because yeah, you could do Gears E-Day, you could do
Mhm.
Fable, you could do
Mhm.
Perfect Dark, right?
Mhm.
You have Call of Duty, which is a home run as well, right? Which will play best on that box,
Absolutely.
Um,
Forza Horizon 6.
State of Decay 3 potentially, like for the
Hey,
Forza Horizon 6, you could potentially have a Halo thing, like
correct.
I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. Like, if you actually were to have the ability to have Call of Duty, Fable, Gears, a Forza, and maybe even a Halo for a launch lineup, it would be just absolutely mind blowing, right? I mean, you're talking about in this day and age, like that's holy shit. So therefore, I think it's not going to happen. I think they're going to still just release the games when they're ready, more so when they're ready. Maybe if it's close around that time, they would hold off on it for a bit. Um, but I think Call of Duty is going to be the one that they're going to push the most for it. Um, I would also count on Fable and Gears. But like that's the question. But
Right.
that's the question about like Gears is like, do they want Gears and Call of Duty to release at the same time? Like if they're both kind of Gears of E-Day would be like a big multiplayer game also, you know what I mean?
Correct.
And if that one may be multiplat everywhere at the same time as well,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
So they're hoping for like the biggest Gears launch ever in history. So, but if you time that at the same time as Call of Duty, does that Call of Duty is going to go bonkers, right? So
Correct.
what does that do for Gears? I think it would make sense at that point to put Gears earlier, right? Um, because you're coming off of this year's Gears or this year's Call of Duty, which won't be as probably of a major thing as next year's. So I, I'm thinking I'm thinking Call of Duty and Fable are the two that I would count on the most. It may be Perfect Dark.
Yep. The big thing to me, and that's why I said you technically can count anything in
Yeah.
2026 as the launch
Or
title, is
Forza
because
Horizon 6. But actually I think Forza
right,
Horizon
or
6
Forza,
would be like maybe September. I don't know.
right. But anything that's into, again, anything in 2026, it really doesn't matter. I mean, you could even use 2025 games, but let's just focus on what 2026 is looking like already for them, because they are stacked. And it could be even more stacked than we even know about right now. But anything you launch in 2026, you can even promote on the new system,
Yeah.
because chances are it's going to be upgraded. So it's just like the PS5 Pro enhancements that we saw Sony just do this with, right? For all the games, they came up with the big list of whatever it was, 40 initial games, I think, or something like that, that were going to be all enhanced on day one. You're basically going to do the same thing with the next gen Xbox. So even if E-Day were to launch, let's say, the first half of 2026, like we thought, maybe
Yeah.
springtime, right? If they do launch it then you just come right back around and be like, look at E-Day now. You've been having a great time on E-Day. Welcome back,
100%.
folks. Here it is.
But
Look at it
that's why
now.
it's so different now. Like
Right.
that was what my favorite thing about this generation was that this generation was the first time ever where we counted on buying a a brand new next generation level piece of hardware and know that our entire library comes along with us, but also gets a lot of enhancements for free.
Right.
Right? Now, some companies decided to charge for them. Um, but
And we might not have to wait for patches this time around.
right.
It may just update out the box, right? They might just have them ready to go out the box. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, but like we got a
Yeah,
lot of enhancements.
a
Like,
lot.
like EA went and unlocked a lot of frame rates on their games. Some
Ubisoft in
Ubisoft
general.
did the same thing, like Xbox was just doing updates left and right. A lot of games on the back end, they went and added games that were not available previously. They went and gave FPS boosts to old games. They gave like all these enhancements. Um, and so that was kind of a new thing, and that's my expectation now. So when I look forward to new hardware from Xbox, I'm expecting my games to look and play better that I already have. A lot of them, especially the ones that are first party for the majority, right? I understand there's probably some that weren't like nobody ever plays or whatever, like or and just don't feel like it's I like for example, I don't think Redfall is gonna get like this massive like update, you know what I mean? But like but the Forzas and stuff or like the Gears games, Halo, other things where you could see like resolution improvements, like ray tracing improvements. Potentially, you could see like performance improvements, all these other kind of things that kind of change the games that we already own. So I don't like need a game that's like only on this device to be excited to own the device. I am excited to own the device because of the games that I already own. And that was something that was different this generation, than we've had in the past. And now I think it's going to continue forward. That's going to be another reason for anybody that enjoys playing on console hardware to look forward to upgrading their consoles because it's not just the new games that you're now capable of playing. It's the fact that the games you are playing are better. You're on mute, Pong, or I've lost your audio.
Shit.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, no, yeah, you're right. I haven't done that in a while, by the way. So, no, you're right, and that's exactly what we are at a different point because it's quite obvious, man. We For those of us that have been around for a long time, and that includes most of our chat, you guys will know this as a fact. Previous to this now consistent hardware that we have, every generation you had completely different innards, insides to the console. They were completely different, generally speaking. That was a hard cutoff point for games. Now we don't have the hard cutoff point for games
Yeah.
because they're all speaking the same type of language now. And when they do another generation, it's just an upgraded version of that language, but it still recognizes the previous version. And so now it's quite obvious that when we say get new games for the new gen, it's not the old days where suddenly it was completely new game. Like, oh my God, completely new. No, and gamers now recognize this. Gamers now have been through multiple generations where they've played their previous gen on their current gen hardware. Or I should say, since last gen, I should say, when we started getting backwards compatibility because Xbox introduced it. But people are now getting used to this fact, right? And they understand, Mav, that next gen isn't, oh my God, I'm getting all these new freaking games that I've never seen before. No, you're going to be still able to play those games, most likely, most of them on your previous gen hardware. It's just that the new gen, the current gen stuff is going to be able to play stuff that much better than what the previous gen was, just like PCs have been doing for a very long time. So that hard cutoff point doesn't exist anymore. Now, can we see some surprises this next gen where they don't make a game backwards compatible for the last gen that because we've seen some games coming out for especially from Unreal Engine 5 and some devs that are really pushing hardware, like really
Yeah.
pushing hardware. Like I'm not talking first party stuff, I'm talking more third party stuff. I imagine most Xbox stuff will probably still be, but could we see some things come out that are, hey, current gen only, quicker than we did with the pandemic and everything else that happened this gen, yeah, I think we could see some games that just are too big or are just too much for last gen, this gen I'm talking, but
Yeah.
obviously we're talking about next gen, you know guys know what I'm saying. For the series consoles, for the PS5, I think we could see some games come out where maybe they go, "Nah, this is
Yeah,
only
like
gonna
a
play on the brand
Witcher
new Xbox."
4.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that, I think that's certainly a possibility, versus this gen where we didn't see a whole lot of that at all. We've seen so many games still play on the old gen, but, I just think overall that that's what's changing. I think gamers understand that. So I think we're just gonna be looking forward to, especially the enthusiasts, but even the mainstream audience is just gonna be looking for those games that showcase, and they're not necessarily gonna be completely different games. They're going to be the same games we already played, but it's going to be one of those cyberpunk situations where Nvidia came out with the 40 series cards with the, hyper ray tracing, or whatever the hell it was called, and they threw up cyberpunk, which a lot of people, 20 million plus
Yeah.
people had already played cyberpunk, but they showed this game and it was like, holy shit, look at that. Oh my God. Like, it looks like a different game now. That's what we're going to be looking forward to. The elephant in the room for next gen, Mav. Now, we're not going to talk PlayStation because we don't know what PlayStation's plans are. Shuhei said 2027, 2028, right?
Yeah.
That was Shuhei's guess for PlayStation 6. The elephant in the room, as it was for this gen, is going to be Grand Theft Auto 6. And how many people that just keeps on the last gen. And is anybody going to be looking forward to it on the new gen? Is Xbox going to be able to showcase enough changes for Grand Theft Auto where it entices people? They could. Their handheld could certainly entice people if they get it out soon enough. Like we've talked about, your idea that they could be one of the few handhelds that can play Grand Theft Auto 6 at some point. That would be a massive, but that is the elephant in the room because that's the game that pretty much tied everybody to this, or a lot of people to last gen, to the PS4, to the Xbox One, was Grand Theft Auto 5. So is Grand Theft Auto 6 going to be the anchor again? Or is the new hardware with the updates, with the upgrades, going to be a big enough change where the people that just invested to move again? I don't think so, but we'll see. It could be, but I think you got to offer them something. And again, Xbox being this all in one, play anywhere, your cloud saves, everything goes everywhere. Maybe they do entice some people that are Grand Theft Auto heavy players. And now, supposedly, again, the word is that this is going to be a Grand Theft. Well, it's not the really word. You can kind of see what they're building. It's going to be a Grand Theft Auto platform. So this isn't going to be a single player game like we've known Grand Theft Auto be. Supposedly you're gonna be able to build your own worlds and your own games like Roblox inside Grand Theft Auto. Well, we know that's gonna take over people's lives. I think that's gonna be interesting to see how that gets sold to the next gen. Or if you just got a bunch of people that are happy to stay on Xbox Series consoles and PlayStation 5s because they just updated and they got Grand Theft Auto and they're fine.
Yeah.
Like I just, but I think overall that's what we're gonna see next gen. And I think Call of Duty is a big push. I think their launch lineup again is going to be massive, Mav. It's going to depend on how you look at it, but the way that we're talking about this, and I think it's the appropriate way to talk about gaming when we're talking about new generations, quote unquote, because it's not the same as the old days. It does really include everything that launches next year, and even some of this year, and maybe even some of the earlier titles on how they look and perform on the new system. That's what's going to sell. But that 2026 lineup from Xbox is massive. And they're going to be able to push every single one of those games, all the successes that they have next year, all the games that are launching around whatever time frame that this hardware is going to launch. They're going to be able to push all of those as visual feasts because that's really what it's going to
Yeah.
come down to, visual feasts for this new hardware. They're going to be able to show every single one of those off, man.
It's going to be
That's
interesting
crazy.
too, though, because like that's going to be like the capabilities of the hardware will be the selling point, not the games that you can only play on the hardware, right? Which is like
More
for
so it's gonna be
for
features more so than it.
right. So for a console launch,
Mhm.
this will be the first time it's like kind of breaking new ground in a way that we've had a traditional console manufacturer now release as a new piece of hardware as a multi-platform publisher, right? Knowing that all the games are going to end up being going everywhere and all that stuff, right? And, or most of them.
Yeah.
And that creates really intriguing things for the hardware perspective because like they have to like as what Phil had said, right, on
Mm.
in one of his interviews, like, and I've said this numerous times in the past. In a dream world for me, there's no exclusives anywhere, and I can play any game on any device that I want. Therefore, I can just pick the best possible device with the best features for me, the best value for me, and play my games there, right? And for me, the reason I play so much on Xbox is because that's what Xbox has provided for me, right? Something else provided that for me, I would be playing mostly there, right? I mean, PC has amazing stuff and amazing features, but like Game Pass as is better on console, right? And than it is on PC right now. Like you have a lot more titles, you have um more functionality because it's added to it as well, like with the whole ecosystem. So it's like for me, Xbox has just been winning as a consumer for so long, and
Yeah.
like I want like for me, it's like those are the decisions that matter more so than like, hey, I can only play this game in that place because that's like just something that's purposefully done by the companies just to sell that hardware, but it's not
Mhm.
mean anything about the hardware itself, right? It doesn't say anything about the hardware. It just says stuff that, hey, we're made this only for that hardware, right? So this is going to be the first time where they're launching one of these companies, Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, is launching a piece of hardware where they're saying, yeah, you can play it on a PlayStation, you can play it on a Switch too, but here's why you should play it on Xbox. Like that's going to have to be the selling point. That's going to be this is why you should want this device. This is why you should want to be in our ecosystem, not on PlayStations, not on Nintendos, right? Not on Steam's. These are the selling points for the Xbox identity, the Xbox brand, and our hardware. And they're going to have to get around to figuring that out to sell to consumers. Because I think the one fan base that understands that the most is the PC fan base, right? But you're not selling consoles to PC gamers. Not unless they're getting it to add to their existing thing and the feature is that no, I can access Steam, right? I can access these other stores or whatever. Like I
Yeah.
don't think like people that only ever play on PC and take advantage there will be as intrigued to be like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna switch to Xbox now,"
Yeah.
because of
No.
that. But like it may be an additive thing if it was intriguing enough for them. Um, so it's gonna be like marketing to console enthusiasts. Like, here's why. You, it's just gonna be interesting to watch, man. And like that, but that could be good for us because that must mean, like you said in the past, Pong, it needs to be compelling.
Yeah. Very. Yes.
Right.
It needs to be completely different. It needs to stand alone on its own, like you were saying, Matt. And that's the tough part. That's the argument. And again, we agree, just a pure gamer standpoint. Don't care where I play my games, right? Just from a pure standpoint. But this is why I still argue exclusives matter because Nintendo proves that fact. And to a weird degree, Mav, Steam on PC does prove that as well. Because there's a large group of PC players who are Steam only players, and we do have games that launch only on Steam, as you were just talking about Monster Hunter Wilds, right? For PC. So they even get some exclusives. Exclusives still do matter to
Yeah.
an identity when you're still in that world. And it obviously is still important because Nintendo fans are diehard fans because of their exclusive games, right? It's because of their first party. It's not because of third party. It's not because of anything else. They'll buy them from time to time, they like some of those third-party games. Again, technically, Pokemon kind of is a third party, but of course, we all count it as first party. But it's the first-party titles that you can't get anywhere else. You have a hardcore fan base, a very big hardcore
Mm.
fan base.
See,
Now,
I almost think in a way though, Pong,
yeah,
like yeah, the Nintendo games you can't get anywhere else. They've obviously kept those exclusive. But when they were traditional console manufacturer, right?
yeah.
Their traditional consoles sometimes struggled.
Well, I mean, yeah, the Wii U did for sure,
The Wii U
right?
did. The GameCube didn't sell like bonkers.
No, not like Bonkers, no.
I mean, they've been lesser than PlayStation for traditional
Yeah,
consoles, except for the Wii. But you
right.
could argue that the Wii wasn't because of exclusive games. It
No,
was
no,
it was about the hey, this is this casual thing for everybody, and it was very inexpensive as well, right? So the thing that I'm getting to here is I
yeah,
think Nintendo's been more popular on that side because what has always sold well for Nintendo was they were the handheld device creator.
sure.
And when they decided to go with the Switch instead of making a console into a handheld, they
Mhm,
decided to make a handheld into a console, right? When they made that and they led and left the DS era from DS to 2DS, or DS, 3DS, and all the DSIs and all that shit, right? When they decided to move on from that, they're like, okay, here's our new handheld. And wow, it was better than any handheld by far that they've ever made. But you could also use it as a console. So to the console gamers out there, you don't need to buy console. You already got one here, right? So like if the exclusives were the thing that made them so amazingly special, then the GameCube would have sold like crazy. Then the Wii U would have started out better than it did, but they sucked at marketing that console as well. So it's like I think functionality of hardware has always been Nintendo's secret sauce, even more so than the games. Because the one console they sold like crazy on that was after the SNES generation, all that was the Wii, which I mean was crazy. It began becoming a shovelware machine, right? Just destroyed it in that regard. But yeah, they got special games and all that kind of stuff. But like, I don't know.
it's a little bit of a chicken and egg
Yeah,
because the only reason why they can do what they do in the
Skyward
hardware space,
Sword didn't move the needle
uh,
too much for them. Um, Tears of the Kingdom was on the Wii U.
no, right, the Wii
You
U
know,
was an utter failure, right? The way I mean,
it's
we know
like
that. But when they make the what I was gonna say, the only reason why they could do what they do with their hardware though, man, now that they decided to get into just the handheld space, which again transformed everything. Again, shout out to Nintendo. They found out that the console space wasn't for them. But the only reason why they're still able to do what they do, man, and to make money on everything that they put out, including hardware to the degree that they do, is because they hold the exclusives. If their games were elsewhere and the Switch, they tried to put out a low level Switch like they did the first time around, and people could go play Mario at a much better experience elsewhere, or Tears of the Kingdom elsewhere, right? Or any of the games elsewhere, they
yeah,
would
because
not
people need
reign
to get a
supreme.
Switch as a second device, right? Yeah,
Right, that's what I'm saying. So it is kind of a chicken and egg thing, and it still proves the fact. And tamales, I mean, again, overall, I do agree with you still that there's plenty of people who choose a system based on the games. Now, whether or not long term business wise, that model worked when games didn't cost what they cost now to make, right? When time frames didn't nearly triple, double, or triple in the amount of time it took to create games, so that one studio, again, going back to the 360 generation, could put out a trilogy in one single generation, right? You're lucky to get one game a generation now from a dev studio. So times have changed. So whether or not that still works as far as it used to, I think there's a lot more to consider when we talk about this topic, but I do still think that obviously, again, there's an identity factor that comes along with exclusives that I don't think anybody in their right mind can argue. There is something strong. If if Jordan signed his name to Reebok, Nike, Adidas, and his name was available everywhere, would the Jordan brand be as big as it is nowadays or as popular as it is nowadays? No, it's because it's exclusive to Nike. Okay. It's because of that exclusivity that people will go pay $200, $300 for a pair of shoes. It's because of that, right? It does dilute things when you put them everywhere. I understand it from what
Yeah.
Xbox and Microsoft are trying to do, right? And again, I've said it as a gamer, I really don't give a shit. I've seen the rise and fall of too many companies, of hardware, of everything else, the entire collapse of this industry almost to the point of never coming back again. I've been through the wars. So to me, as a gamer overall, I don't care. I'd be sad if Xbox exits the hardware business, but it would be the end of days to me. No, it would not be the end of days to me, right? Same goes for Nintendo, same goes for PlayStation or anybody else. But I do think that there is something that does still say that exclusives do work. However, with what Xbox is doing, we're not here to relitigate exclusives again. With what Xbox is doing, right or wrong, they are going to have to sell features. And we're going to find out, like you said, Matt, it's really the first time in history that we've seen a company, a publisher, now a third party publisher like this in this industry, also try to produce hardware and sell hardware to any kind of degree. This is new ground that they're breaking,
Yeah.
right? So this is very interesting. And again, my point, as Mav just brought it up again, is that one way where this does have my interest is the fact that if Microsoft and Xbox are serious about trying to sell hardware while they're being a third party publisher and not really having exclusives, then you have to make the hardware stand out to a wild degree from your competition, quote unquote. You have to be above and beyond in feature sets from your hardware to entice people to come in. And to me, that as somebody who's invested in this ecosystem, that to me piques my interest in what they're going to do because I think that's going, excuse me, to benefit us more and more. As Mav and I have talked about this play anywhere situation, how it does benefit us already, how we get cloud saves that don't cost us money, unlike PlayStation, where you have to pay and keep your membership alive, otherwise your cloud games are gone, all that kind of stuff. If they can increase this even more on the new hardware because that's what they're going for, that's the selling point. And Phil said that that was a selling point. Now Phil said a lot of things, so again, wait and see. But if this is what they're doing, then to me, that's what gets me excited for Xbox next gen. And I hope it is next year because I think that means we'll get a tease at some point this year, and things could get really wild when that happens. I can't wait.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I can't wait. Yeah. Oh
Wild
man, oh
times
man.
ahead.
It is. This is why we love this industry, man. We still got the Switch 2 launch around the corner, which hasn't even happened. And we're going to have, you know, E3 season right there on top of it, where there could be big, massive announcements. We're getting hints at bunches of things right now, smoke brewing in the background at all times and in the foreground with all these kind of, so, taken with salt of
Yeah.
leaks or rumors. But the more that keep popping up, the more this reality becomes, right? So again, this is how the PS5 Pro rumors started when everybody was like, oh, that's bullshit. They're not doing a PS5 Pro this time around, blah, 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 blah. Shout out Tom Henderson and Inside Gaming when they were putting out the smoke and everybody was like, oh, that ain't going to happen. Come on, man. They ain't going to put out no PS5 Pro. Look what happened. Became a reality. This is what we love, man. So I can't wait. I can't wait. Oh, Mav?
Yes, sir.
Where do we want to go? What do you want to talk about? Is there anything you want to talk about?
Let's talk about Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk. That was a lot of smoke that turned into reality, Mav. So yeah, so Tony
Yeah.
Hawk. I mean, we had all the teases, right? Obviously people had picked up on it right away. 3/4/25 was the date. Well, it makes sense that Tony Hawk 3 and 4 would be the new game coming, or the new remake, whatever you want to call it. Remake, I guess we'll call it. And it was confirmed. So it was confirmed that Tony Hawk 3 and 4 are coming. Very I'm gonna throw this out there, Matt, because it's becoming weird with this whole ABK back catalog. Why would you not announce that 1 and 2 are coming to Game Pass?
Yeah, it's like there's got to be
Whoa.
something, bro. I don't know why. We talked about this before. Like
Yes.
there's got to be some reason to this. I think like it's a game that launched this generation. You know, I'm glad to see that 3 and 4 are going to be Game Pass day and date. Which I had
Great,
to
yeah.
I had to find out. I think it wasn't even in the ad that the trailer that they put out. I think it had
No,
they just
came out
announced it
afterwards.
afterwards. They're
Yep, yep.
weird that they didn't put that on the trailer. But
It's weird, bro. Well, I've guessed that it's because they're gonna increase the price of Game Pass Ultimate at some point here, and then they're gonna throw a portion of the back catalog for ABK as a consolation. "Oh, we're adding all
yeah,
these
maybe
games
it's
to this."
like something like a bigger
I
project behind the scenes
man,
with all
weird.
of this. Real quick though, because we did miss this
Yeah.
earlier, and he just hit
Oh,
us
go right.
again. BT
Oh,
Maverick
hit it.
earlier hit us with a
Shout out to
fun
BT.
speculation membership gifted. I appreciate that, but not he
Oh, choo
wasn't.
choo,
He was
motherfucker.
like, "You fuckers talk too long without acknowledging me," and I
Choo
did
choo,
a
motherfucker.
gifted
Sorry, BT.
earlier, and I need to be heard. So he said, "I'm adding the fucking train to this car, the
That's
speculation
Maverick's fault.
train, and we're gonna roll and hit you guys with 5 more gifted fun speculation
Attention,
memberships."
ladies and gentlemen. Attention, ladies and gentlemen. We'll give it the proper due. I need you all to double check those 4-point harnesses and get buckled up a little bit tighter because we started out the show at a Mach 2.5 or 2.0, but we are now at a Mach 3.0. I'm giving extra credit tonight for all the generosity we've seen tonight. That's right, the one and only BT Maverick 707 getting on the court with the easy 5 layup, dropping off as a bag of coal, adding a car full of speculators. That's right, the one and only BT Maverick showing it up tonight. Thank you, BT Maverick, keeping us ad-free in 2026. Hashtag no beans. And your goal for the month of March is a brand new, fresh 9,219 after that nice one right there. So you guys got a nice little goal to get to, but you guys will get us there. But choo choo, motherfuckers. Choo choo. Thank you, BT Maverick. Never expected. Always appreciated around here, guys.
Sir. Um,
So yeah, I just don't get it. Again, I don't plan on spending any time on it. It is what it is at this point, but I know I don't think Colt put up 500 some days now since the acquisition
do you,
and the back catalog still isn't a number,
do
but
you
it's
think there
weird.
is part of some kind of like bigger like feature set that they're working on or something like I almost feel like they don't want to drop them all until they can sell them all on the app stores for Google and like in their own app on mobile devices with their it's like they're holding out, right?
Now, I mean,
You know, but I don't know what
there's no way.
it
There's
maybe okay, so I'm just
no reason.
hypothetically trying to think about
Yeah.
why it could be because these aren't games that are like selling like hotcakes these days anymore. We're talking about
No.
old back compat, so it's not like, well, if we
Right.
put them in Game Pass, we're going to be losing so much money. You know, no, it's not that. It would actually increase subscribers, probably because you create new hype and actually maybe potentially even sell some more of those older games too. So there's got to be some other kind of reason for it, right? And the only thing I can kind of think of is they are holding out for something, and that could either be some kind of like functionality or feature they're going to drop more of these things with, or maybe they have this so they feel like they need to do less third party deals for Game Pass so they can just use their back catalog to fill it in, with their other first party games. That seems kind of what they've been doing so far to the most point with some of those. But the other part is like, what if they are saying like, okay, well, we have all these things going on with the case with the Google and Epic and Apple and all these things going on that's preventing us from launching our store onto these app stores. And it's like, if we just wait a little longer, then we can create and appeal to a bigger potential audience for these classic games that are going to be purchasable then for the first time on these devices. Like if you have like a iPad or iPhone or like a Android device and all of a sudden you see like Modern Warfare 2, the old school one is now playable default on your thing. Okay, would you be intrigued? Okay, oh, maybe I should get Game Pass or maybe I should subscribe to it because before I never had access to that, right? But I think they want to approach it from the storefront side because that's the reason they have held back some things, as they've said. As Sarah Bond talked about, that they were ready to roll out with these things, but they held off because of the case that with the appeal was allowed to be heard to put a stay on the or temporary stay on the actions that they were forced to take. So at that point, it's like, well, do we wait for that to be done? And like, I'm just hypothetically speculating, business wise, like what could be the reason? Like, and I don't know, man. Like,
That listen,
it's just a
there's certain
thought.
titles there's certain titles for the business side of things that make sense. Call of Duties, sure. They still have draw. Okay, fine. The
Yeah,
older
like
Call of Duties, you
prototype
can play
doesn't,
with the
you know.
oh, prototype.
Yeah, yeah.
What the fuck are you doing with prototype, bro? Again, if you've got deals to bring back Transformers, if you got deals to bring back Marvel's Ultimate Alliance, yeah, I could see holding them and making those
Is
kind
it
of
is it
bigger of
licensing
announcements.
issues?
But prototype, what the what are we doing? Like there's just I again, it's a part my deal is that if there is something behind there was nothing made mention. Phil did not say that there was going to be a massive holdup. He said they had some work to do because they couldn't do the work that they did ahead of time with ZeniMax, right? Because the ZeniMax
Yeah, but
purchase
it's
was a
been
private company.
they've had enough time to
Right. Right.
more.
It's again,
Yeah.
if you want to hold some and you want to play with some, because like Call of Duties, they still hold value, right? Spread them out, do that kind of shit. Like I get that side of things, but you've said nothing since you first said, well, it's just going to take a little bit more time. It's still a part of your original promise to Game Pass Ultimate. And I'm sorry, folks. I'm not going to, I don't defend billion dollar companies when it comes to this stuff. And it is a promise, however you want to look at it, that a part of our Game Pass Ultimate subscription is, and core to a certain degree, although they've changed that, is that we get the back catalog of all first party titles. And again, if there shouldn't be any problems, right? Like your prototypes, those are on 360. In fact, they've had updated versions. These aren't like technical issues that they're running into. So why aren't they available to us to play right now? Like that is my thing. And again, Tony Hawk, the only reason why we're talking about this is because Tony Hawk 3 and 4 was just announced, the remake. It's coming in July 11th. I'll get into the details here in a second. But they announced that for Game Pass. But why would you not have Tony Hawk 1 and 2 shadow dropping? Like when you make
Yeah.
this announcement that 3 and 4 is coming in July's right around the corner. We have a lot to play. When are you going to drop 1 and 2 into Game Pass? Like it just doesn't.
Yeah,
I
especially the
have to
games
scratch
that
my head.
launched this generation make
Right.
even
Right.
less
And if there
sense.
is something preventing, then obviously just come out and say there's something preventing. Like this again, this thing, and this is one of the questions. Like these are the questions that I would be asking Phil. This is the thing that frustrates me when he does do interviews that nobody presses him. And Phil has said, and before anybody says, well, it's all pre-approved and PR team, Phil has flat out said that they don't pre-approve any questions for him, that he
No.
goes on and will take any questions. I have a problem when people don't press him on. Again, you don't have to be ugly about it. You don't have to be like,
Yeah,
"Oh
what the
God,
fuck,
Phil."
Phil?
Well,
Where's
what
my
the fuck?
shit,
No, but
yo?
it's these probing questions that the community, especially the players that understand this stuff, that are passionate about that. Right, the enthusiasts that do have honest to goodness questions like, okay, it's been like 500 some days now. Like, where's the rest of the back catalog for ABK? What's going on? Like, why has it been it's not even close to like a drip feed. Like, it's just like one randomly here or there every once in a great while. Some of them make sense, but I would ask those questions. And again, I think it's a valid question to ask at this point.
So
But
which ABK games are, I mean, obviously the big ones are the Call of Duties, right?
yeah,
Besides that, which ones are the big ones that are missing right now?
well, I mean, it
Um,
depends if you're reworking licensing deals, right? I mean, that's the
yeah.
question, and that's been the smoke is that they have been right. That Hasbro and them have been. Hasbro raised their hand right away and said we'd love the Transformer
Mhm.
games to be available again, right? You're Phil and Xbox, you're dumb for not signing a deal. And then there was rumors that they're actually working on multiple Transformer games, too. So they maybe have signed a deal. So Transformers, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, again, same thing, licensing deal, right? So those are your big ones. What else is left? I'd have to look up the um
I mean, there's
uh,
the Tony Hawk ones we just talked about.
yep.
Like that's the one that also like doesn't make sense to me. Because it was this generation. So like licensing of music and all that stuff doesn't seem like that would
Right,
be a
Guitar Hero, like that kind of stuff obviously is that's
yeah.
or
Those
DJ
would be a fucking
Hero.
dream, bro. If that like could you imagine
Yeah,
if they like came out today, like some magical thing? Hey, we're putting Guitar Hero in there, or
right,
all the Guitar Heroes and all the fucking music as part of the Game Pass subscription. That'd
right.
be nuts, dude.
Singularity. Um Singularity. We got one of the
Prototype,
Spyros. How many
Singularity.
how many how many crashes do we have right now? We got one or two crashes.
I think they put
Well, we got crash.
the Insane trilogy. I think hit did it,
Okay, so the Insane
and then
Trilogy's in there.
I
Okay.
think 4 hit. So
Okay. Okay.
I'm not 100% because some of them I'm like, oh cool, all right, I'm not gonna care to play it
Right. What else we got in here? We've got Prototype, Singularity, uh, Time Shift would be another one, Tony Hawk's, uh, and then whether or not they could get Vigilante 8 to work, who knows? Probably not. So it probably wouldn't work. So,
Yeah, it's too old.
and then all the Call of Duties, and then the Transformers, and then the Marvel Ultimate Alliance, right? Those are going to be your probably most pressing ones, right? So,
Yeah, like I think it's the
mm,
Call of Duty ones that's the most perplexing for people.
yeah,
You know.
gun. I mean,
Yeah, you're talking about OG, like
you can get that stuff to come back, sure, it'd be great. But obviously, I'm not
yeah,
counting that stuff when I talk about that. I'm not counting the true crimes. I'd love true crime to be playable. It's not going to come, right? They didn't have a 360 version even of true crime, so like that's not going to happen. But just yeah, I just like to get an update on where they're at, man. Where it is. That's all.
yeah.
Oh, that's Blur. Blur would be
The
cool.
PC side, there's probably a couple more too. You know,
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
Blizzard
yeah. I mean, they
stuff.
they now have what we got
They've got
StarCraft,
StarCraft. Um,
Diablo, right?
mhm. I mean, I think they're catching up. I think it's the Call of Duty and a couple of those other ones that are just kind of really missing, you know.
Kind of.
They're not too far. They're not too far. They've added a couple of Call of Duties into there so far, right? They've the first one they
Did they?
did was Modern Warfare 3,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Which was
The
last
newer
year's
one. I'm talking
game.
about.
And
I
then
keep thinking about the
I
old.
think there was, I don't remember if this was a rumor or if it was something that was announced or whatever, but the old school Modern Warfare 2 was talked about for Game Pass in some form or fashion. I think it could have been
Hmm,
a rumor
okay.
that was coming soon. So I think this summer potentially. It was like
Hmm,
a rumor or something. I can't remember where that came from, but it was like the old school one, right?
cool.
So I don't know. I think that's been the most intriguing one. We already know they did the server work to get the servers back up
Yeah.
on the old school titles. But I am surprised like Vanguard's not there, you know,
Hmm. Yeah.
stuff like that. So, but
Like I
maybe
said,
there's
playing
still
around with
some
that stuff.
over underlying things with the PlayStation deals that they had or something in the contract. I have
Can't
no
see
clue,
them
man.
holding a Vanguard, bro.
Yeah,
Seriously,
yeah.
I
I
can't.
mean, I agree.
I just want to play the
I mean, you got
campaign
like Call
Vanguard.
of Duty Ghosts, you got Advanced Warfare,
Right.
Infinite
Yeah.
Warfare,
I'll
you
go
got,
back and play those too.
OG Modern Warfare, the not sorry, 2018 Modern Warfare. You
Yeah.
know, you had, I mean, so you have,
A lot there.
yeah,
I just want to play campaigns. That's all I want to do. So.
yeah. I also like, man, that's a lot of fucking downloading on the current gen ones and the last gen ones.
Mhm.
Games are so big.
They are. They're massive.
Yeah, Wolverine. Oh, the classic Wolverine. Yeah, but
Oh man,
like
if
the
they could do that,
licensed ones, I'm not like it would be
I'm not
awesome, but
expecting
it's not
to
an
get.
expectation, you know.
No,
So,
no, no, no. Neither am I. I'm
um,
not. I'm just saying we've heard some stuff. I mean, obviously there's smoke out there that they've been working on them, so it'd be great. And like I said, I get if they're holding those for a special announcement. Like I totally, that's fine. But the Call of Duty's got to start drip feeding here for sure. Prototype, you got to. Why is
yeah.
prototype? I get
But
prototype.
I don't think like in our mind it's like ABK catalog's like there's this like list
No,
of
I
like
know
a
because we see
50
the
to
tiles.
100 games or
Well,
whatever,
when
and
you
it's
look at
like
the
yeah,
tiles, there's a ton of them,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
there's stuff that I really want that I know they probably could do. Like again, Singularity is one of the games I want to go back and play again, and it's one of the ones that they probably got turned down to bring forward because of Bobby Kotick before they owned ABK, right?
yeah,
Because there was publishers turning them down. So I want to see that stuff come forward too, right? So again, I understand. There's not as much as we think there is, but Call of Duty should be being drip fed, man.
yeah.
The older Call of Duties, it's not that big a deal anymore. Like there's some, but anyways. Um, so Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 announced releasing July 11th, coming to PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox, Switch, and PC. Remade visuals in 4K, new soundtrack, new parks like an abandoned water park, plus classics like Foundry, Alcatraz, College, and more. New skaters join the ranks of returning pros, each with fresh drip and unique tricks. And that will include Doom Guy, if nobody was paying attention. That's right. The Doom Slayer is going to be available. So a nice little crossover right there, which is dope. Expanded Create a Skater and Create a Park modes compete with friends in new Hawk mode. Standard will be $50, deluxe 70. They do have a collector's edition for 130. And again, yes, it is coming to Game Pass Ultimate day one. Day and date. We did get word today, Mav, a little bit of a kerfuffle that Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 will not include the campaign mode, that it's going to go with the skill challenges stuff that they have 1 through 3. So there are some people who are a little bit upset about that. So,
Okay.
but just wanted to throw that out there. I don't remember playing 4 personally. I really don't.
Yeah, my memory blends all of them together in a way, you
Yeah, so I
know.
don't remember
So
the campaign mode at all, or career mode, I guess I should call it. It's a career mode, is what it is, Mav, in 4. So, but yeah, dope as hell though. Again, just when you give me 1 and 2, because I want to go back and play 1 and 2. Those are the ones I really want to play is 1 and 2. Like I play those? But this is cool that we got a release date already, that we know it's coming on Game Pass, confirmed. So that's dope. So go ahead, man. What do
yeah.
you think about this? Pre-order too, and you can get a wireframe Tony shader, which is pretty dope looking. And you get the game 3 days. Get to play the game 3 days early on July 8th. And the Foundry demo, 2 playable skaters, 2 playable parks, and limited soundtrack. So that's what your pre-order is if you're going to pre-order this. Anyways, just want to throw that out there. What you think, Mav? Ready?
Man, I was the trailer looks great.
It does.
Like it
Look good.
really I mean, talk about it's not a remaster. This is a full on like re-envisioning almost of the original games. Like they say 4K visuals and all this other kind of stuff, but like it's like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 remakes, like they it feels like a brand new game. Um I love those. I love both. Playing through 1 and 2 is absolutely awesome. Seeing like how far things have come since those days, because I have like Pong, my memory is mostly kind of blurred all of the original games, but my most of my memories are from 1 and 2. And especially like the warehouse and stuff like that. So 1 and 2 was awesome, but seeing the trailers for 3 and 4, it's just like wow, it looks even better. So I'm really looking forward to it, and it's another game released first party wise that is in Game Pass day and date for Xbox gamers this year, which is crazy. So we've had I don't know how many games we're getting this year, like from first party from Xbox, and if that's the new reality that we're going to be living in, I'm going to be crazy excited because you have not only did we already just get Avowed, coming off the heels of just 2 months away after Indiana Jones, but got Avowed. Oh, here comes South of Midnight. But, here comes Doom the Dark Ages, right? Oh, here comes Tony Hawk. Um there's updates to existing games like Age of Mythology Retold just got new content. You have other big titles for the end of this year. Call of Duty is going to be there. I'm c- I what I want to know, Pong, and sorry to change subjects. But we already have had several games announced, and we know we're playing soon for Xbox, right? Up until at this point, July 11th. But we don't have a lot of dates for after July yet. And with the Fable delayed to 2026, and now the Ecstasis rumor, that Gears E-Day is probably 2026. There was also some speculation from some that said they could push it into 2025. But if they're already saying that probably 2026, that's what I'm gonna assume. What does the holiday lineup look like this year for Xbox? Because two of the possibilities are most likely next year now. Call of Duties will be there. We have Tony
Outer
Hawk
Worlds 2.
in July. We
Yep.
have Outer Worlds 2. We don't know when that is.
That's your holiday.
The Gears collection is probably the
Gears
summer.
Collection. Uh, August, they said. So, yeah, I guess they
Yeah,
count
so
that.
late
Yeah,
summer.
yeah, late summer. Yep.
So what does
So,
September to December look like? Is there something
oh,
else that we don't know about?
no, but we got the Oblivion remake
Uh-huh.
somewhere in there as well. So we'll have the Oblivion remake. We'll have Outer Worlds 2.
Oh, also the Gears
Uh,
collection is rumored not to have the multiplayer.
correct. Yeah, I didn't bring that
With
up.
they
But
what they
yeah,
can't, it's just the campaigns, which is fucking stupid and disappointing to me.
gone
Honestly.
back. It is it.
It could have been like the Master Chief collection. Like after you played through the campaigns, like the multiplayer was a blast. You know how much fun we had playing like Halo 2 multiplayer and stuff here on our channel. Like
It's
it
just
was
yeah, I know. I
like I
went
could
back
just
to it
imagine a
because it was
compilation
seeing.
of maps and everything from Gears 1 through 3 and like this kind of orchestrated
But I
multiplayer
think they might
mode.
be doing that for E-Day. See,
Yeah.
this is the discussion I had with Steele, and this is why we went back and forth on this a lot, Steele and I, especially on Living Split Screen, because the question first was which one was going to come first, right? And I was on board that they would do the trilogy first to get the PlayStation community and potentially the Switch 2 community up to speed on Gears before launching E-Day. Steele's point was he thought E-Day would launch first, which then would negate the whole multiplayer concept because E-Day would already have the multiplayer. We knew E-Day was going to have the multiplayer. And then the conversation would be, well, are they going to include the old maps, redo the old maps, kind of like what Call of Duty did? That makes the most sense. You're going to have new maps from E-Day, but then you're going to have the old maps remastered as well, the classics, the favorites, and bring them back to life again. Um, that made the most sense to me so that if E-Day launched first, that wipes out that whole discussion about the multiplayer because Steele's point was no, you start with E Day because that's now in the timeline, that's the prequel. So you give
Hmm.
everybody E Day because, again, both him and I were in agreement that this is going to launch, E Day will launch day and date on PlayStation, right? So you launch E Day, it's got the multiplayer, it's the prequel, does that whole thing, and then you launch the trilogy down the road. And again, the multiplayer is not in question. You just launch the trilogy, give the PlayStation players, potentially the Switch players as well, catch them up on the trilogy. And obviously, if the Xbox players want to go back and play them, great. And then that gives them a way forward to continue or finish off the Kate stuff, which again I hate, but whatever. They eventually go back to that and finish it off. So that made all the most sense. But now, if this is the case, yeah, Mav, I'm in agreement with you. Like, not having the multiplayer there is pretty stupid in some capacity. I've heard people say, well, you can go back and play the multiplayer on the old stuff. Yeah, but if you're
That's
going to
not the
give this,
point of this,
that's
though.
not the
Yeah,
point of
exactly.
bringing it
Right.
back. It's not. And it's not the point of opening it up to new audiences either. A big part of Gears, yes, the single player, the co-op, the PvE, obviously through the missions is a massive part of Gears. But the other part is the multiplayer. That's what lets the games live on, and not to have any way for the PlayStation players to experience the online multiplayer if you're going to launch it now and then E-Day next year, and they're going to have to wait until then, is a missed opportunity, in my opinion, that they
Yeah,
should
yeah.
have had the multiplayer here. They should have. Yeah, for sure.
I
So,
mean, I would assume it's more complicated or difficult to do the multiplayer or something. I don't know,
something,
but
there's
like,
got to be a reason. There's got to be a valid reason why they're not going to do it. Again, to my point is that E-Day, I think, is going to be the platform going. It's the game going forward, right? It's the one that's going to be the new one. And to me, it just makes the most sense that you're going to remaster all the original maps and put them in the E-Day on top of the E-Day maps, and you're going to have one massive multiplayer game, right? Because you're going to have tons of maps to choose from. I think that's the best way to do it. So it makes sense, but again, now launching this early, I'm like, it should have some multiplayer to
yeah.
it. It should for sure.
So
Um,
I was
so yeah,
trying to go back to my
yeah,
original thinking.
yeah.
Like, okay, so we don't know when Ninja Gaiden 4 is releasing,
Nope,
right?
nope, nope.
And we don't. So that one, I'm assuming, will probably be in that
Mhm.
realm, right? So we have August, right? I think I can't remember Wu Shang Fallen Feathers. That's that. Obviously, that's not first party, but Game Pass day and date. We have Adamfall in March, and we also have Clear Obscure Expedition 33 in April. Um, I'm kind of thinking about the bigger
No date
third
on,
party deals for day and dates.
no specific release date on Wu Chang. So,
Okay, so that one could also be maybe later this year. Also,
hmm?
it's just like there's like something every fucking yeah, like it was
Yeah. So we'll have Doom, Tony Hawk 3 and 4, right? And
Ninja
then
Ninja
August.
Gaiden or what was August? I know something was announced for August. I can't remember what it was.
We just talked about it. Which one was it?
Yeah, my mind's blanking.
Which one was August? August was whatchamacallit? God, we just said it. The
I know it's
hell?
like August 28th. I know the date, but I can't remember what game it was that we were just talking about. So it's slated for August.
See? Oh my God. What were we just talking about, chat?
It
What was
wasn't. We
our
don't have a date for Outer Worlds 2 yet either,
no,
right?
nope, no. Outer Worlds 2, I think, is the holiday. So, what did I say? I said Outer Worlds 2. I said the Oblivion remake, and then what was the other one? I said,
It was one that
uh,
was slated for summer
yeah.
because they
So we said,
said summer.
yeah, they said so.
And
I'm
we're
done.
too. Hey, is there a candle around here somewhere I can accidentally knock off the shelf because we're showing our age right now, Pong?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Well, Metal Gear Solid is also August,
That's
right? That's
also
the first
August.
party.
Yeah,
That's also
yeah.
that's a big one, right? But
Was it Ninja Gaiden?
no, it was not Ninja Gaiden
I
because I
didn't
didn't bring
think.
up
Yeah, I
Ninja
don't
Gaiden.
think he thought he brought up Ninja Gaiden, Alvin.
I didn't bring up Ninja Gaiden. I brought up Outer Worlds 2, the Oblivion remake, and then which other one did I bring up? Holy shit. Doom, we don't have a date. Oh,
But
Gears, the trilogy is supposedly August.
okay, is that what it
That
was?
was the rumor. Yes, that's how we started talking about Gears. For
Are you
God's
sure? It
sake.
doesn't sound right.
Holy shit. Yes, because that's how
Okay.
we started talking about Gears. Because the rumor is Gears August. That was the rumor, and that's why we started talking about the Gears trilogy right
Right,
there
right,
and then.
right, right, right.
That's okay.
Okay, yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
God. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
not
like,
okay.
there's literally like a fucking game a month.
I'm
Like,
usually getting ready to close my eyes shortly here, so that's
yeah,
probably why. But yes, no. So yeah, that's why. So we got Outer Worlds 2. We'll assume Gears trilogy is true. Oblivion remake, right? And then obviously Doom and Tony Hawk, right? Both
yeah.
second half. So right there, you've got Doom, Tony Hawk, and I'm just going first party. Doom, Tony Hawk, Oblivion remake, uh, Gears Trilogy, Outer Worlds 2, Call of Duty,
And Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden. 7 games, second half already.
It's fucking nuts. Well, Doom
Yeah.
is not technically second half, it's first half because it's in May.
You're right. You're right. Okay, I forgot that Doom was
So
technically.
6 and 6.
So six,
Just
yes,
kidding.
6 and 7 months.
No,
Yeah.
so in first half was Avowed
Vowed. Yep.
and South of Midnight.
Yep.
Towerborn makes first half. I
I
think
mean,
maybe.
we're getting in a Game Pass. They announced it. So, but
Yeah,
it's not
what did they say when?
this month. So it's
Okay.
part of this month's
So
collection.
Towerborn.
Yep.
Ninja Gaiden 2 Black.
Yep. Doom.
Is that one published by Microsoft though?
That's up for I don't think it.
I don't know. I know 4 is, but
Part of the deal. 4 is, but I don't.
Yeah,
think 2 is.
yeah. I don't know if that one they count or not. Anyway, yeah, there's probably like 10 plus first party games this year for Xbox.
Right. So I mean, it's full, but just speaking on what you were asking about the holiday,
And that's with Fable and Gears Ede being next year.
right. Outer Worlds 2, Ninja Gaiden 4, and I think the Oblivion remake probably. It depends where GTA 6 is. It depends on a lot of shit, right? So
Yeah.
I think Outer Worlds 2 and Ninja Gaiden 4 is your technically holiday, right? Because you're gonna have Call of Duty, right, somewhere in there in October, November, right? October probably, right? So you're gonna have Call of Duty. So you'll have Call of Duty, then you'll have Ninja Gaiden 4 and Outer Worlds 2. And I think that's your end of the year, right? That's your end of the year shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Shane earlier was asking in the chat, why do we expect Xbox to have 1 to 2 or why do we expect a game every month while Sony and every other company releases 1 to 2 games a year? I don't expect them to have a game a month, but that's just what they're doing. You know what I mean?
They have so many studios and they have such a backlog of games that they've been making forever. I think it's just kind of math at this point, Shane. Again, I don't think there's any problem with saying
I mean, we're
that.
talking about the games that they've already announced and dates for them and the ones that are pretty much leaked, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. We're talking about the biggest publisher in the world.
If I was to sit here and say, oh, they can't get their shit together. They moved Fable to 2026 and they moved Gears Ede's not even hit. They have nothing, man. Like that would be ludicrous. That would be absolutely asinine. But to just try to figure out what their pipeline is with what we know, that's not an expectation. That's
26 could be even
speculation.
crazier. Yeah, and 26 could be even crazier. So
yeah, it could be. And that's fun to speculate upon too.
Right.
Like,
we still have things like Contraband out there, right? We still have Everwild, which rumor was could show up this year, so that could be another game.
ZeniMax
right?
Online. You have Perfect Dark, State of Decay
Bro,
3.
I keep forgetting Max Online's game.
Yeah.
When
it was rumored today that the Respawn other game was canceled.
The first person shooter that they were working on.
Yeah.
Which is
that's not. I mean, I'm talking about Respawn.
It's not Titanfall 3. Don't even talk to me. So whatever.
Yeah.
I want Titanfall 3.
I don't know why I just jumped to a different company there, but yeah.
No, I don't know either. But yeah, no, because you probably just popped in your head.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, next year could be even bigger. Shane, I think we're over the whole Sony. We know what Sony's position is. They canceled nearly 10 games.
Somebody in the chat earlier too was like, name a first party or name a platform that sold well without a lot great exclusives. My answer is PS5. It's like,
I just
being honest.
I just think the conversation's over. They're just playing two different ball games. Microsoft is a third-party publisher now. Who cares? I'm just excited for how many games they got freaking in the pipeline, which is something we've been talking about for years.
Mm-hmm.
We've been talking about this avalanche coming for freaking years, man. Almost since I started. Once they started acquisition season,
and it's still possible they have more.
They do have more.
Well, that's what Greg Duncan said. Is like they have so much stuff we haven't seen. I don't know if that necessarily means for this year or not. You know what I mean? But maybe they've already surprised us a couple times just in the last few months. Since December, we've found out about 4 games for this year. since
Yeah.
December.
Yes.
Outer Worlds 2 was given a date for a surprise 2025 release date at the Game Awards in December.
Yep.
Then we go to Ninja Gaiden Black 2 and Ninja Gaiden 4 were announced at the Dev Direct in January. And now Tony Hawk 3 and 4. That's 4 games.
We're still getting Game Pass announcements too.
Yeah. Just in the last since December that were
Right.
added to this year.
Right.
And there's very good potential that there will be more.
Mm.
But we'll see. It's not, I mean, they don't need to, but it's not about need, it's just about running all these companies when the games are ready and releasing them and trying to figure out the best way for them to release them. So I mean, I mean, and also I think it's interesting for Xbox this year too, because on top of all the releases they also have the releases on the other platforms of the older games,
Yeah.
which are going to have new lives. Like
Forza Horizon 5. Yeah, number 1.
On PlayStation pre-orders.
UK, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Mexico, Brazil.
Already.
In the US, it's number 3, number 4, number 13, depending on which version, right?
And I think this is going to increase
and that was from March 1st. That was Okami.
So. Right. And the game, when's this release date? In April?
Yeah, April.
So, I mean, we're talking about, like, I think that's going to be probably increase as it gets closer.
Oh, it's going to be massive. Bro.
Yeah. I mean, how many more players? How many copies is it going to sell?
Again, it's different from anything else that they have outside of Ubisoft's, third-party stuff. It's the greatest one. It's the greatest arcade racer. They haven't had anything like this on this level. Wait until people start posting screenshots and videos. Yeah. The FOMO is going to kick in for people who have not played it on Xbox or on PC. They're going to kick in, man.
Again, do you think they make this for the Switch too?
Yes. I think that Xbox puts everything possibly that they can on Switch 2. I think this goes not just for Xbox. This goes for all devs outside of PlayStation. And I think PlayStation, I think PlayStation starts dabbling on the Switch 2 with some of their stuff. But I think that all devs are going to put as much older stuff that could not formerly be on the Switch 2. Anything they get on there, they're going to put on there this time around. They're not going to miss this gravy train. They're not. So now, whether or not it sells, again, it's ups and downs for people who try to do that. But if the Switch 2 is any kind of capable, and there can be some of these cool ass games that the Switch players missed out on, I think there'll be a lot of Switch players who actually buy third parties this time around versus the Switch, which was so underpowered, it's not even fucking funny. So I think there's a lot of potential here. And I think Xbox is going to exploit that potential nonstop.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Because Forza Horizon 5 on the go. Yeah, people are gonna fucking love that shit on the Switch too. Kidding me? Come on, man. It's gonna be dope. Yeah, Forza Horizon probably gonna be the best selling game from Xbox, third party wise. I think I'm not saying anything ridiculous. I just think that's what it's gonna wind up being.
I wonder if eventually there will be enough Xbox first party content on other platforms that they at that point would allow a smaller version of Game Pass on their platforms for just the Xbox games without the third party games, like the curated like Xbox.
I mean, would Xbox turn down doing it? I don't think so.
No, Xbox would definitely want to do it.
Curate something in a heartbeat.
I mean, they've already said they would love to do it, but like, I'm just curious if like PlayStation would ever be like, you know what, like, let's do it. Like, I don't know.
No. It won't work. It won't. I don't think it'll happen on either one. I don't think they want that branding in that form on either one of their platforms, PlayStation or Switch.
Like,
I just don't think
they don't do it on PlayStation for EA. Weirdly enough,
right?
And
Ubisoft is not technically full on.
Yeah, they don't. You can't just sign up for Ubisoft Plus on PlayStation either, right?
No, that's what I'm saying.
So like, Nintendo, like I think they are against that stuff, but I think it changes over time. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
It would be if that were to ever happen. I'm not talking about soon. I'm talking about something that could happen like 8 years from now, potentially, and where we're all living in a different world where the entire gaming industry has now been living in and accepted this new identity of Xbox, right? Not the freshly like they're we're embracing other platforms company. You know, this will be cemented as several games going to each platform every single year. And at that point, it's like those games and those companies become synonymous with the all the platforms, not just Xbox, right? Like
Mhm.
it's like any like Assassin's Creed. You don't think of any one box. You think of wherever you want to play it, and like that's eventually going to be the Xbox brand and identity. Except the difference is they will also, because they are have their own storefronts and stuff, sell you their own box, you know, and
Right.
have Game Pass for it. So it's just an interesting thing to look at far off into the future, how things evolve and shake out.
There's gonna be a lot of change,
Yeah,
and
100%.
anything's possible. I again never bet against anything in this industry because again we've seen way too many for sure things fail hard, and we've seen obviously things that people were like, it's never gonna work, take off like a fucking
Yeah,
rocket, change the industry completely.
yeah.
Fortnite.
And like
That's
Alvin
for
says,
example.
Xbox would have to 100% stop selling hardware for that to ever be
Yeah,
considered.
and I think that's a big part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I'm just in the eight when I'm talking about like as far off in the future, what happens to the hardware market at that point anyway?
Mhm,
You know what I mean?
mhm.
Like at what point does the hardware market with consoles become less relevant to the business? It's already becoming less relevant to the business strategy of some of these companies, right? Like so how does that evolve over time? And when it's not about needing to sell a box to get your consumer, right? Then at that point, it changes the way these companies think, and it's more about, as we've said, with PlayStation and these and stuff. It's about their engagement. It's about monthly active users. It's about
Mm,
getting more players. It's all about that stuff. And part of that is breaking down barriers, not creating them. Right?
correct.
You don't grow player bases by creating more barriers. You may grow it to an extent, right? But like you're going to be capped to a certain level. Breaking down barriers and lowering down gates embraces more people, and it opens up to the possibility of more. And that's where these companies are going. So some of them are able to do it sooner than later, and some of them need to do it sooner than later, right? Um, but eventually PlayStation you're gonna see is gonna keep making those same moves, right? Like they're putting their games closer and closer to PC, closer to day and date on PC. Like,
They find a magic bullet. I mean, yeah. I mean, technically speaking, they need the cash flow. I mean, that's what all these companies are screaming for is cash flow. I mean, again, why Xbox is now a third party publisher is
yeah, it's
because
who's to say what condition
business.
and shape are these businesses
Yep.
in? Then you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like we've
Yep.
seen what happened to Ubisoft in the course of the last 8 years, the turmoil that they're in now.
Yeah. Had you told me last gen that Ubisoft would be struggling this gen to survive,
Yeah,
no.
like no, I mean they were fucking rocking.
Yes. Crazy.
Things change so
Uh,
much, and like I think a lot of our, and I noticed this is like early on when I started the channel, just with people's the way people think and stuff, and it's like,
mhm,
and I think me and you are a little bit of outliers with how we kind of look to the future a lot and think
sure.
about where things are headed, as opposed to being cemented in the here and now and letting that be our idea of the way things are going to be, right? And it's hard, I think, for what I've learned is that for a lot of people to like things aren't going to be the same in the future, so you can't expect the way things are now to be the same then and expect this just normal trajectory of outcome to be like to to happen over time, right? Like we have to look at like technology advancements. You have to look at like business strategies of the companies. You have to look at the health of the industry. You have to look at like the games that are successful, the games that are not. Like there's so many factors that take into place, but the number one driving force that always changes the gaming industry is technological advancements. And the reason is because they're using it to embrace more gamers and to lower the barrier of entry.
Sure.
That wasn't possible back then. That's why the wars existed. Because you had to, in order to survive, you had to have that device to be able to sell your products. The device was a means to it, was a means to an end, and that's changed now because of technological advancements. Like the cloud has changed things with saves, progression, cross play, cross progression,
Or so
like
that
all
even the
these different things.
gamers themselves have even changed,
Oh,
right?
100%. Yeah.
That's the whole thing. Again, our generation is we're going to be around for a lot longer. I think that companies do forget that too as well. Gen X, for sure, we were one of the first. We were really the first generation that embraced gaming to any type of degree past childhood. Right? Gen X was a big leader in that, and obviously each generation after that has embraced gaming more and more. Um, but the way that people game, the accessibility, like you were talking about, just has changed gamers' habits as well. And that's
Mhm.
another thing that has been very tough on these companies to figure out again. And then when you've got black hole games, that's the new thing, whether it's mobile or something like Fortnite that are bigger than any other real games out there for the most part, outside of like a Grand Theft Auto or Call of Duty. Like that changes how and
Mhm.
this industry works completely. And that's exactly what's happened.
And some companies have basically bankrupt themselves
Mhm.
trying to find their
Correct.
black hole.
Yep. Right. Right. Exactly.
You know
Exactly.
what I
And
mean?
then
It's
on
like,
top of that, you've got new countries now entering
mhm,
the game marking space, especially from the East, your China, especially your Korea, who are showing up and doing things that are on the same level as devs who have been around for decades,
sometimes
and yet
better
they're
levels, yeah.
right, better levels, and their costs are a fraction of what it is to make a game in the West. They have much less overhead in their studios. They have less people making their games. So that's also a changing factor that again, that nobody
Also, a
saw
lot of the
really coming.
bullshit and
Mhm.
the focus
Yeah, all of it.
groups and all the
All of it.
marketing research, all
All
this
of it.
shit is taken out of the equation.
Yes, because they
The creating 6 different games and canceling
yeah,
all of them to finally pick
yeah,
one and roll with it over the course of
right.
years, like, wastefulness, you know what I mean? This the number one thing with this industry and, like, they talk about, "The industry's in trouble." Stop wasting so much fucking money. Even if a game fails and you launch it and it doesn't live up to your pipe dreams of being the biggest thing in the world, you're still getting more than nothing. Like, if you break even or come close to breaking even, it's better than spending 4 years on something and fucking throwing it in the trash and never see the light of day again. Now, sometimes you can say, "Well, no, that's not necessarily." Yeah, if with as much as these companies are doing that shit, that's the number one thing I think is, like, they gotta figure out how to manage that shit. Because I mean that you talk about over hiring for all these canceled projects, right?
Yep.
You have people that learn and get better as they develop these things. They can learn and move on to other projects after they finish, if they fail sometimes. And like I'm, I just look at the amount of canceled games behind the scenes that always get announced, and it's like, my God, And what's baffling is when we find out about the stuff like at like WB, right? When we saw the reports from Jason Schreier, and we've heard this, seen similar reports about Ubisoft in the past, and it's like it's hard to feel bad for these publishers when you see their leadership and management has just pretty much fucking squandered fortunes and just thrown it in the trash. It's just it's baffling to me, man. Wasted years, wasted money, wasted time, all for chasing something at the end of the day that was never what the original creators wanted to make in the first place. That's got to be the number one thing that changes. Like, I'm
There needs to be
ridiculous.
a lot of looking in the mirror.
Yeah,
So, oh, for sure.
that's what
And
Hiroki
again,
Totoki saw. He was like, "Hey, we suck at business. Let's
oh,
cancel
right.
all this shit now. Let's get on track." I
Uh,
don't know, man. It's so weird.
no,
Uh,
they overestimated. And again, there's been mistakes made by pretty much everybody in this industry, right? And it's going to happen. It's big business. Again, when you get to this point, it's massive business. It's mistakes after mistakes. Let the strong survive. At this point is what I'm about. But like I said, as much as I say, hey, the big boys got to learn. And if there's some contraction, which I believe there is contraction right now, and I think that the industry is going to get smaller overall at some point here. But if that happens, why I still say it's still in a very strong position is again because we see these new studios forming out of nowhere, sometimes from the ashes of old studios, but a lot of times nowadays from unknown places, unknown talent showing up and still making massive hit games like Black Myth, Wukong, etc. Even a small studio like Stellar Blade showing up and doing very well with their first time out the gate type games. That's why this industry is still healthy because the indie scene, the double A scene, the smaller studios are still forming. They're still here, and there's new ones being created all the time. And I think that's still really a sign that this industry does have some health. New IPs still find a place to thrive. It's still risky as fuck. It always has been. It's riskier than ever before because there's more competition, but at the same time, people are still interested in coming in. So
yeah,
I think that's still a good sign, man. Even if the big boys are really, really struggling. So great conversation, man. Didn't expect to go that sideways, man. Love when we
yeah,
take U-turns and detours and shit like that, man. I love it. It gets the brain thinking. And makes you take a different perspective at things. Um, before we get everybody out of here, Mav, anything else you want to get to, brother?
No, I'm good to go. It was interesting to see Acclaim coming back, but like I was
Yeah.
trying to like oh yeah, I loved Acclaim, and I'm trying to like
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. What fucking games did I play that were Acclaim? Like I'm trying to remember, off the top of my head. I remember seeing the logo all the time, but I can't remember specifically what the games were. So I would have to go and look at a list of old school
Well,
titles
Acclaim published a lot. I mean, Acclaim like published Mortal Kombat back in the day, right? So that's
before
you saw their
Midway.
yeah, you saw their
Okay,
names all the time, like NBA
yeah.
Jam, right?
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Acclaim. Yeah, yeah. So Acclaim, you saw them all the damn time. I always think it's cool when a name is resurrected again,
Mhm.
obviously. Obviously the big one was Atari coming back from the ashes, and they've actually done very well for themselves, making some very good small acquisitions, and kind of reforming what they do. It's just a name. I hope they do well.
Yeah,
Again, um, the current people behind this Acclaim Resurrection want to do indie publishing, which is always a good place to start. And they also have talked about potentially bringing back some old IP that's been dormant for a very long time in different ways. And if they can pull off those two things to any degree, hey, happy to have you back, Acclaim. Great to see the name back again. Love it. Nostalgia wise, seeing like you said, Mav, it was a well-known name that when you see the logo, you're like, oh, of course, man, of
yeah,
course. So yeah, all for it, brother. All for it. I think it's dope. Otherwise, Claire Obscura 33 looks like it is going to be a game of the year contender as well. That those previews came out this week. People got to play for some hours on Claire Obscura, and if you guys didn't see, there's a lot of people talking about this game, and there's a lot of people who said it's the real deal. So that this is that they couldn't stop thinking about it. That the story, the characters, the atmosphere, along with the battle systems, the old school RPG feel, except up to date for 2025 with the kind of live system as well, where you can parry and dodge and that kind of stuff and counter. Works really well.
yeah,
People were saying. So Claire Obscure is going to be another early game of the year contender, Mav. Could be wild. Game
yeah.
Pass. In
Interesting.
date.
What a year.
Yep.
All
Oh,
right.
what a freaking year, bro. What a freaking year. Yeah, other than that, congratulations to Steam, 40 million concurrent players. They hit 20 as a record just 5 years ago, less than 5 years
Yes, concurrent.
ago. 40 million concurrent players, bro.
Concurrent. That is
Yep.
crazy.
Crazy, bro. Crazy. About the same amount of people that have an Xbox Series console all playing at one time on Steam.
Yeah. Do you remember like before last gen, people saying that PC gaming was dying?
Yeah.
And now
Now they
PC gaming is like taking over everything.
Yeah, and if Nvidia and AMD weren't so expensive, it'd be even more so. Can you imagine if you could get a, let's say, mid-level PC for about $800, $900? Do you know what that would do? Like you could back in the day,
I think that's the
bro.
future of consoles. Of
That's
space.
the space that I think Xbox is going to try to fill.
That's
I
that,
agree.
and then I think there are third-party companies are going to start trying to just make stuff, and they're not going to expect to sell 100 million boxes, right?
Nope.
They're going to manufacture and sell them for profits and sell, a few million, be happy, like, it's like there'll be competition in that space. It'd be ultimately better for us, and at the end of the day, like as far as options go for hardware.
Mm-hmm.
So, man,
Mm-hmm.
love it.
Yes, sir. Uh oh yeah, Fragpunk. If anybody was looking for Fragpunk, which is coming to Game Pass as well, looks like a cool first-person shooter. Some more really good reviews from people on it that played it. Delayed on console. They have issues. Like it was like right around the corner. Wasn't like next week it was
Yeah, it
supposed to be
was.
dropping.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's.
crazy.
Oh, we're supposed to
So
release this next. Oh, it doesn't work.
oh
Shit.
yeah, oh shit, we got problems. So consoles, both Xbox and PlayStation versions have been delayed for the time being. So they said they will update as soon as they know for sure when it's going to be coming. They said in accordance with platform pre-orders on Xbox, PlayStation will be canceled, so they are canceling pre-orders. And respective platforms will automatically initiate the refund process. We will also provide in-game currency worth $10 to these players when the console versions officially launch. So they're trying to make amends, which is good. So, especially for some kind of out of the blue delay. So, shout out to the dev team. Again, from what I've seen, the game looks fun as hell. Not something I would ever, commit to, but it certainly looks like something I might try out when it drops into Game Pass. Fragpunk, though, delayed for the time being. PC is still on for that time. Voice actor for Marvel 1943 supposedly gave away that they are looking at launching in December. Take it with a grain of salt. Whether or not the voice actor knows what he's talking about. If that is true, then I say this is a 2026 delay for Hydra, for Marvel 1943, I should say, Rise of Hydra. What do you think,
Yeah,
Matt? 2026 sound better? It just sounds like they're pushing towards that way.
probably.
What? Yeah,
Yeah, I
probably.
mean, I would have been surprised if that hit this year to begin with.
It was supposed to.
Yeah,
They said it. So, but yeah, no. I mean, again, there's so much, and if they got that game out next, whenever that drops, because again, that's like one of the few comic games I'm actually interested in. I can't wait to see what they do with that game. So take all the time in the world. All right,
2026 is going to be even crazier than 2025, guys. Get ready.
world, bro. Get me out of this world, man. All right, Mav. Get everybody out of here. You good?
Yeah,
Cool.
do it.
Hey, everybody. Episode 150. Mav and I didn't even know it was a special night. An episode 150 of PM of the PM Pog and Mav of the PM. Thank you all for being here. Much love and respect all the time to all of you that show up to this show, to any shows. Again, you are giving us your most valuable commodity, which is your time. None of us get any of that back. It can get refunds or any of that. So thank you all for joining us tonight. Hope you kept you entertained. Hope we had some good conversations, maybe spark some interesting thoughts of your own. But just appreciate you all showing up, whether for 5 minutes or the entire time, and all the extra bonus stuff that you guys give. Never expected, but always appreciated. Thank you all for having a great night with us, me and Mav, on a Thursday night. But Mav, tell everybody what we got going on coming up this Friday and the weekend. What do you got going on, sir?
Well, we have a podcast tomorrow night. It's called Xbox Ultimate Podcast. You can check that out at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Fun Speculation. Maybe some more game streams this weekend. I had fun with a longer one on Sunday this past weekend. Um, checked out this game called Mark of the Deep. It's pretty
How was it?
cool. Yeah, I really liked it. I
Cool.
looked up the reviews and stuff. It's got like sevens. It's supposed to be on it on the consoles, but like it's not.
Is it? Is it a roguelike or what is it?
Yeah, it's like a roguelite.
Oh,
Kind of reminds me of what's the bird one, Death's Door, a little
oh yeah,
bit.
Death Star.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I thought it was really good. What I played of it, I actually played it longer than I was anticipating playing it on the stream because I was actually kind of sucked into it, right? Um, I can't find any information about a delay of consoles, about a console release, but it's supposed to be Xbox Anywhere, and it's supposed to have been released on January 25th when it came out for console PC, but there's nothing out there about it. So anyway, um, check it out on Steam. It's there. It's like $30, I think. It's really good. So that game I was streaming. I streamed some Avowed, and then some Monster Hunter Wilds on Sunday. Yeah, so maybe some
So,
more stuff coming this weekend, if I have time. But other than that, back on Monday for FSP at 9 p.m. Eastern, and start a new week. And we'll see if there's some kind of doomsday scenario in the gaming industry that happens between now and then, as ACG may have alluded to. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
no idea.
I'm on
Yeah,
pins and needles, man.
it'll be
Enjoy
nothing.
your games today.
It'll be nothing. Enjoy your games
It's
today.
gonna be a wild ride.
Maybe he was just talking about the
I
real
don't
world. I don't
fucking
know.
know,
Maybe,
man. Yeah,
maybe,
maybe it's talking about
I don't
real
know.
world. Yeah, and hey,
Maybe he's actually a CIA op,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
he's just letting us all know. Who the hell knows, man? I've been down a lot of rabbit holes, so I think that way sometimes. But yeah, that was an interesting comment from him, just randomly out of the blue. Enjoy your games today.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, ACG. I will. I will enjoy my games today. Mav, sounds like a great lineup, brother. I hope you do get some more streaming in. Maybe we will be able to link up for some Monster Hunter again this weekend at some point. We'll see. But appreciate you, brother, for being here and doing all the stuff that you do behind the scenes to keep the show going. And obviously, Caitlin and all the work she does. Both of you. Love you guys. And appreciate it so much. Can't believe we've been here for 150 episodes. Wild, man.
Yeah,
So
fuck.
appreciate it,
I
man,
didn't
so
even know
much.
it was at 150. I thought we were probably like a 130 something. Kate does the thing, so
I know.
I didn't
Yeah.
even notice until somebody
I know.
mentioned it.
Yep.
Yeah, you too, bro.
But shout out to you, brother. Thanks, man. Otherwise, you guys know how to find me. It's Pong Soul everywhere. Follow me. I will follow you back. Tomorrow night, I should be on Xbox Ultimate as of this moment. If anything changes, obviously, I'll give Mab the heads up. But as of right now, I should be there where the family gets together right here back on the Fun Speculation Network. We don't know how many of us will be there, but it's always a great time. Lots of good laughs, lots of good conversations. 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. Xbox Ultimate right back here tomorrow night. And then Saturday morning, keep your eyes and ears open. Again, Steele and I think are gonna go, but if not, we'll let you know. Again, real life always comes first, as my brother knows. So we will let you know. But if we do living split screen Saturday morning, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock, or Jesus, 10, yeah, 9, 8, no, 10, 9, 10, 9, right? 10, 9, 10 p.m. Eastern, or 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. Jesus, 1 week off, and I can't remember. Living split screen, myself, my brother from another, Steel Rain, and I go live. We will be live if we do go for 3+ hours. We have a great time there. So just keep your eyes and ears open. We'll let you know. And then, of course, the Shop podcast has moved. This will be our 4th week, I think, this week on Sunday nights. That's right, Sunday afternoon, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Central Time. We get the Shop podcast over on PTK Blam's channel. It's Blam, it's Fuzzy, it's myself. And this week, the brother from another, Steel Rain, will be joining us as well on Sunday. So be there for the Shop podcast. A nice way to end your Sunday night as we roll into Monday. The Shop podcast every Sunday. Be there for that. And then next week it starts all over again. Double Barrel Games is a channel. Boomsticks the Man. All good things green on Tuesdays for Xbox Factor Podcast, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. Check him out anytime you get a chance. Boom is the real deal. And then, of course, back here again for another episode of PM and the PM Pong and Mav in the PM next week. If all things work out, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time. It's a golden age, guys. It is. I got a lot of changes, a lot of stuff going on, but it is the golden age of gaming. So no matter what you're playing, please get out there, play what you love what you play. Have a great Friday or a great start to your weekend for the rest of you that are already in the future. Whatever the case may be, play what you love and love what you play. And I'll talk to you all soon. Matt, get us out of here, brother.
Bye, everybody. Take it easy.